Yo, I'm hoping everyone can hear my voice. What is going on? Oh, let me go back a sec. I need to just grab something. There we go. Nice and fixed. All right. Except where's my news page? Because we got a lot to get through today. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly. No, wait. No. You're not fooling me this time. I can see the mic moving. I can see it. Not this time, Nate. Not this time, buddy. And plus, Devin already said, loud and clear. I'm getting there, folks. I'm getting there. So first of all, a massive apology for my late start tonight. Had a really rough few days. My uncle passed away on Thursday morning. It's been quite difficult trying to organize everything. My mum didn't take it very well, so I've pretty much been there for the past few hours as well, which is why I'm starting quite late tonight. It is life, but everything's fine, everything's sorted. Life moves on, and you know, it is what it is. But that is essentially why I am starting late tonight. It isn't because I'm a lazy piece of shit, which is probably somewhat true. But otherwise, you know, it is what it is. Let me know if the music is too loud. Hopefully this doesn't get copyright claimed, because they told me I'm now whitelisted, so I can actually use this for everything I've got. I've contacted the company. They told me if YouTube actually does copyright claim you, contact us and we'll take it off within a few days. So that is awesome. Diablo, you are not late. We've literally just started. I'm the one that's really late. I've just had a lot going on the past few days that I've been trying to sort out, and you know, we've had a family member pass away, and it's been difficult, but you know, it's all okay. We are now in a position where we're ready to move on, and I think I got home at like what, 10 o'clock. So it's taken me about half an hour to organize everything. It's a good thing I actually did some forward planning today. So we actually got a lot of news to get through. So buckle up, people, and just let me know if the music is too loud, because if it's overpowering, you can't hear my sexy voice. We are in a cheerful mood today. We're going to keep it upbeat with the lo-fi. And yeah, let's get this show on the road. So I do hope you're all having a good time. You all had an amazing Thanksgiving, for those of you that celebrate it. You know, Turkey Day is one of those days where you eat to your heart's content. And I hope you had a great feast. I hope you had a great time. And with Black Friday upon us today, I hope your deals came true. But with that said, we are about to dive into some crazy news. We've got some audio files that we're going to go through. We've got lots to do today. Is PlayStation counting Portal sales as part of their console sales? Yes, they are. They are actually now inflating their numbers with the PS Portal to pass that off as console sales. I appreciate Diablo. That's alright, Leaf. As long as you can hear my voice, the rest is, as they say, blase. But let's get that down. Got my additional backup drink there. Got my third backup drink there. I mean, that is literally what it is, right? Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. No, I know the meaning behind that. It's just everyone calls it Turkey Day, at least where we are. All right, so the time is 10:51. We're about to get started. Let's do this. All right, so the first topic of the day we have over here is Larian Games. Seriously, Alexa. Alexa, seriously. Alexa, stop. Why, Alexa, why do you gotta mess up my jam? Yo, Alexa, I'm talking to you. Like, seriously, Alexa. Damn. You see that, chat? No respect. I'm telling you, one day AI is gonna take over. AI is gonna take... Nah. That's not what you do, Devin. That's not what you do. Because one day when Skynet takes over, they'll remember that slap. And they'll come for you. But if you deal with it in a peaceful way, there's a good chance that they'll remember that. And say, you know what? This one was nice to me. Let them live. You don't want no T1000, T800 coming after you? I mean, the T800 probably can't do anything anyway, but the T1000 can. Damn straight. That's what I'm talking about. But this is actually really cool because a lot of scalpers, as you can see, have been buying this. Oh no, I pressed the wrong thing. Let's go back. I didn't want to go here. There we go. So a lot of scalpers have been buying this, right? And they're like, yeah, it's $70, but we're going to sell it for £200. As you can see here, 200, 209.99. But Larian came out and said, hey, guys, don't do it. Don't buy it. We have enough stock to last us for 6 months. Let these people buy it and let it rot. Because they can't, we've got enough supply that they can't buy enough to actually take it all off us. So this is how you do it. They said this isn't a limited edition. This is just a deluxe edition. So to all those scalpers out there that are basically trying to screw everyone out of a good purchase, which is at a reasonable price, by the way, screw you, sucker. But that said, you know, that's actually amazing. And, you know, Larian said they've got at least 4 months worth of stock. And with the supply with the demand that's coming in, they're actually making more. So by the time we're actually here talking about this, I suspect they've at least got 6 months worth of supply. The scalpers are not going to buy that. The scalpers are now screwed because they are stuck with items that they do not want. So at this point, they're going to have to start selling that shit at cost value because screw scalpers, right? Well done, Larian Games. This is how you do it. You just flood the market. Don't make it limited. The moment you make it limited, scalpers win. Make it unlimited, scalpers lose instantly. Just flood the market. I love it. Of course, there is a lot of controversy regarding this. There is a lot of controversy regarding this because, as you know, well, actually, it's not regarding this. It's actually regarding Cyberpunk. With Baldur's Gate 3, PlayStation has the whole game on 2 discs. Xbox has it on 3 discs. I know, we are going back to the days of PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. Come on, we are going back to 5, 6, 7 disc days, boys. But what is happening here when you go to Cyberpunk 2077, the way Microsoft's contract works, the way Microsoft's deal works, the way they actually deal with their third-party publishers, when they want to release a bundled up game with the DLC, they can do that with the game being all part of one bundle and the achievements are the same. But apparently, according to Digital Foundry, who have had experience, and actually, if you recall back to the 505 Games Control drama, where they released Control and then a Game of the Year version of Control for PlayStation, and the achievements were different, well, there's a reason for that. Apparently, when you release a Game of the Year release, you kind of have to release them as a separate bundled achievement. But if you release the game and then bundle the DLC not on the disc as just like a downloadable code for PlayStation, then you can maintain the same achievements. Now this explains a lot, especially why 505 Games wasn't allowed to have Control on PlayStation have cross-save with Control Ultimate Edition, which is exactly the same game, right? And it turns out that CDPR basically said, screw it, we're not going to waste this much money. If Sony want to be a bunch of bellends, they can keep their game on a downloadable code for no game preservation, but Microsoft, you can have it in all on disc. So that's another massive win for those of you that are physical collectors. Cyberpunk 2077 will have, at time of print to gold to disc, the latest updates with the latest DLC all on disc for you to play and install. I mean, for the longest time, I actually was really pissed off with 505 because I thought it was them and they were taking the blame. But it looks like Sony was taking them to take the blame, to take the heat, because Sony's policies are just that shit. It's unbelievable, right? It truly is. It truly is. You couldn't make this shit up even if you wanted to. But that is the way it is. And now you got a bunch of ponies out there going, oh my God, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy it. It is what it is. I mean, I'm pretty much all digital as well at this point, Leaf. I only buy collector's editions or limited editions. That are thing, or if there's like, I mean, I've got a strong affinity to Final Fantasy that is never going to end. So when it comes to those sorts of games, I try to buy it on physical, or at least buy it later down the line. But what I've seen with Integrate is actually getting more and more expensive as time goes on. So that's probably going to be a no from me. But I do have all the PlayStation 1 versions and stuff, so. The weird thing is the ponies are supposed to like physical more, and their own company screws them over, pretty much. All right, so this has been doing the rounds. If you haven't seen it, basically people were, as you were playing the game, a big pop-up appeared on screen showing you an ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now the question is, was this intentional, or is it a technical error? As Ubisoft says. What do you think? I mean, to be fair, Nintendo games don't lose value. You can buy Mario Odyssey now and it'll still be 60 quid. It just doesn't drop in price. So to me, I don't think this was a technical error. I don't think this was a technical error. I think this was intentional. I think they were testing it to see how it worked. I think they fully well knew what they were doing. It's Black Friday. It's a Black Friday deal. 100%. It was on consoles, yeah. They fully well knew what they were doing. 100%. No doubt about it. They were trying to advertise the game. It was on purpose. 100%. Without a shadow of doubt. The backlash has hit them, so I don't think you'll be seeing it until next Black Friday, or maybe the January sales or something. But it's going to be a big sale before they try this sort of thing again, and it's going to be a while before this technical error, rears its head again. But the reality is, I think everyone knows that this was not a technical error. And if any publication is saying that it is, you know the drill, right? Oh, it's not. It's actually when you're playing the game. It doesn't actually happen when you boot the console up. It's actually when you're playing the game. It doesn't, you know, it's, as you can see here, look, let me put this on full screen. Can it go full screen? No, you can't put the GIF full screen. But it's actually, as you are playing, it just randomly kicks you out of your experience and pops in your face. It's much worse than the one that Microsoft did. This was a... It was interesting, right? It was interesting. All right. So apparently, back when the Xbox One got announced, and Don Matrick came on and said, "We're going to be always online. We're going to have family sharing and all of this and all of that," and everyone was laughing at them with the always online DRM and all this and all that. Apparently, according to VG 24/7, 10 years later, the Xbox One vision everyone rejected has become a reality, and I couldn't be happier. I love J-Rock. He's talking shit. J-Rock is good, man. Often called the launch disaster, you only need to look at the Xbox ecosystem now to understand the Xbox One's vision was actually ahead of its time. And it was. See, the original plan with the Xbox One was that you kind of had this kind of family sharing option. So when you actually bought your Xbox Live, it was supposed to be like a family thing. And when you bought games, everyone inside that list of people that you nominated with the gamer tags could actually play it. So their whole vision was to not only be able to share your digital games, but for you to be with your family, of course, family and friends, but for you to also be able to play anywhere. That was their vision with the whole play anywhere, but it was ridiculed and destroyed when it first came out with the Xbox. Obviously, it was in a much rougher state back then because it was the early inception. And it took, you know, the best part of 5-6 years, maybe 8 years, to finally get to where Game Pass was, where they could fully envision and push forward their vision that they wanted to originally have. So yeah, that original vision, because at the time I didn't like the DRM being always on, but at the same time I didn't care because I've always got internet. And for those people that were saying, "Oh, but what if you lose your internet and it cuts out?" Well, I've got my mobile phone. I just need to connect it to my mobile phone for 2 seconds just to ping in, and it's done. Sure, you shouldn't have to do that, but it wasn't a big deal. Not as much as the internet made it out to be anyway. Fast forward today, you've got a PlayStation Drive that needs you to connect to the internet in order to use it. You've got a PlayStation Portal that needs you to connect to the internet in order to have a handshake before you can actually connect it to the actual console, because through Wi-Fi it doesn't connect. The initial connection has to be through the internet. Yet the media is not complaining about this. The media is championing this. The media is saying that it's not a problem. But go back 10 years, it was pretty much a catastrophic disaster. It was on the level of World War III. This was like the worst thing that could ever happen to gaming. But 10 years later, Sony are now incorporating these exact same practices, and it's not a big deal. It seems they finally caught up to the reality that this is just how technology works. The Xbox One had a lot of good ideas, many of which I actually missed, but that doesn't excuse the ham fist of Don Matrick. Don Matrick was crazy. I mean, Don Matrick, if you look at his CV, Xbox One he killed, Stadia he killed, Nokia he had a hand in killing. So my dude is now employed at another place. I'm pretty sure he has a black book that has naked pictures of all the CEOs with hookers, and he basically threatens to expose them with it if they don't hire him. That's the only logical thing I can think of at this point. I actually liked a lot of. I mean, basically the interview goes like this: "Hi, I'd like this job. What's your credentials? I have this black book. What's that black book got to do with anything? Actually, just go to page 14. You're hired. Thank you very much." That's it. That's literally how the interview process goes. That is. There isn't even an interview. It's just look at page 14. CEO looks at page 14. You're hired. It's like that whole Tango and Cash situation. I don't know if any of you are old enough to have seen that movie where they're in prison in a cell and there's only one toilet. And the guy turns around and goes, "Right, let's get one thing straight." And then the guy from the top bunker comes down and is like 4 times the size of him. And he goes, "That is yours." That's pretty much how the interviews go. They see that black book? The job is yours. That's pretty much how it goes, man. That's pretty much how it goes. That black book has an infinite amount of blackmail in there. Yeah, I know I'm showing my age, but that movie, Tango and Cash, is a classic. If you haven't watched it, you'll do yourself some justice in going and checking it out. It's a great movie. That's why I'm glad we have Phil now to rebuild it. It is, man. It's a great movie. All right. So Sony is counting sold PlayStation Portal devices as consoles. The leaked tweet in question was deleted. But as you know, anything that goes on the internet is there forever. The leaked tweet in question was deleted but was able to be recovered in thread. It might seem a little bit strange considering the PlayStation Portal is almost certainly a PlayStation 5 accessory, but according to Matt Piscatella in a now deleted tweet, Circana will be tracking its sales as a console. What horseshit is this, Circana? According to Piscatella, the request was made by Sony themselves, and although the tweet is now deleted, a resettery user managed to snag a screenshot. Where is the media coverage for this? Oh wait, they won't talk about their overlords, will they? The bastards. Matt Piscatella. Just an FYI to those that might care, PlayStation Portal will be tracked as a new hardware platform with spending included in the hardware total per manufacturer request. Yes, I know, again, you don't have to care. What? Like, what? So, does this mean that every PlayStation Elite controller, DualSense Pro controller sold, does that count as a console as well? Is this how they're getting their 45 million numbers and 50 million numbers? How can we take anything they say at gospel value anymore? How can we take any of these numbers at value anymore if they're going to fake inflated numbers like these with accessories and add-ons and attachments? Are they counting the PlayStation VR 2 as a console too? I mean, it is an accessory after all. So for all of those sold, are they counting those as a console as well? Exactly, Nate. Will the earbuds count? It's a very old. I mean, I've actually gone back. My Samsung F21 has a better chipset than the PlayStation Portal. It's a really old chipset. The old Motorola G8 power plays phones? I think they were like, what, 7, 8 years old? It's got the same chip, or is it G7 power play? It's got the same chipset from those, man. It's old. It's really old. Look at that. Look at the coat. Look at the damage control. It literally says they're gonna be behind the MPD figures. We have no idea how Sony will be tracking the sales of the Portal. Oh, come on. Trash. Mate. Guys, I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm going to etch a PlayStation logo onto this. This is about, what, £2? But because you are all loyal Pony fans, once I etch my PlayStation logo into this, I will sell it to you for $99.99. It does the exact same job as a 99p USB. It's, you know, an SD card reader. It's really cool. It even has a USB port so you can plug it into your PC. Something that a standard one without the PlayStation logo can't do. So, for all you lucky people out there, I will sell this to you for $99.99. I'm expecting, you know, PayPal is in the description. Put it in and I will ship it out to you. Crazy, crazy fools, man. Damn fools, man. Jeez. And then you just see them capping like, oh, the PlayStation Portal, oh my god, it's selling out again. Oh, that's all. I mean, can you see the way they're orgasming on the fucking on X, on Twitter? They're literally jerking off to the fact that it's selling out. It's like, please, Uncle Jim, just a bit more. Imagine Sony telling Bungie to recover that. Oh man, I mean, they're gonna be, dude. Marvels, if they lose that case, if they can't worm their way out, in my opinion, they should do what I said and do an out of court settlement and just get it over and done with. But if more regulators get involved, and I've heard Romania is now involved. Romania has also now got into the fray, and they're evaluating how much that they've been ripped off, that their community has been ripped off. Now they want a slice of that pie as well. So Sony's going to be in real shit if they don't sort this out real quick. I mean, no one wants Bungie. I mean, I like Destiny. I am gonna, look, full disclosure, I am going to see through the Light and Dark saga. I've been playing it since Destiny 1. I'm not enjoying the experience. I'm not enjoying the game. I'm not enjoying what I play, but I've made it this far. I want to finish the story. I could watch it on YouTube, but I've already paid for the whole of this year with the deluxe edition, so I'll probably just play 30 minutes a week and get the story out of the way, like I was doing about 2 months ago. 2-3 months ago, literally, I was playing 30 minutes a week. I would sign in on Tuesday, do the story. It would take 20-30 minutes, and I wouldn't touch it for the rest of the week. So I'm probably going to do the same thing. It sucks. I don't really think Bungie is the company they used to be. All they care about now is money. I get they're a business, but the magic that was Destiny is gone. It's not there anymore, not for me and not for many people. Even Destin, who was an avid Destiny fan, and if you've seen his video regarding why he left Destiny and why he's cancelled his weekly Destiny podcast that he was doing, he said the same thing. The magic that was Destiny just isn't there anymore. It's not what it was, and it's basically now just a shell of microtransactions, milking, and squeezing the player community for everything they've got with repeated content that's not fun, not innovative, not engaging, and just trying to do the bare minimum to keep you going, ticking, and getting you fed with that addiction to keep you playing. Now, as Taz will tell you, I actually stopped him playing Destiny for quite a while to prove to him that after he stopped playing it for about 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, when he went back to it, he would see it in a new light. He will tell you open-handedly that what I said was openly true, because I experienced the same thing. I've actually got a whole video based on this where I actually stopped playing Destiny for 4 weeks, and when I went back to it, the game was shit, plain and simple. Sure, the gunplay is good, but that magic was entirely gone, and it wasn't magic to begin with. Destiny 1 had the magic, but Destiny 2, it was all addiction. They fed into your addiction, and once you kind of break away from that addiction, you get to see what the game really is. It's a husk of its former shelf. Do you think Sony will get sued? Need to pay? I do, Chris, I do. Because they have created, if the CMA does not sue them, which I think they will, because the CMA is now out for blood. Now, if you are following Florian, he's actually put a thing out saying that, you know, the UK government is still telling the CMA to focus their efforts on other things rather than these big companies. Don't believe any of that. I mean, not what Florian is saying. Florian's reporting what he's reading. But the reality is, Rishi Sunak, Jeremy Hunt, you know, the Prime Minister, the financial director in the UK, the Chief Financial Officer, they were telling Sarah to go ahead and do this to Microsoft. Why were they doing this? 2 reasons. Number 1, because Brad Smith said the UK was closed for business, and that hurt the UK a lot. It made companies pull back. The UK lost a lot of money, a lot of business, and a lot of faith. At the same time, they said that the UK wanted to be the Silicon Valley, and with these sorts of actions, they can't be the next Silicon Valley. Not now, not ever. So the UK Prime Minister and the Chancellor basically turned around and said, right, screw you. We're going to make sure that this is going to be the worst ordeal you go through, and we are going to make you bend the knee and beg until this goes through. And that's exactly what Microsoft did. Because in the end, the CMA could reject it for reasons that don't matter. Now, if the Prime Minister and the Chancellor were actually against Sarah Cardell, let's be realistic, right? No institution is truly independent. Sarah wouldn't be there right now, employed, doing what she's doing. But she got a massive win. She got Microsoft to bend the knee and do exactly what she wanted. She got the accolades. She probably got the promotions. So she's flying high right now, all under the wing of the Prime Minister and the Chancellor. This was all orchestrated. This was all a game. And, you know, the UK won. And now they're still going on the bandwagon. Oh, don't do this and look out for, you know, all the other economic crisis stuff. But they're still telling her to go after Sony because they want those big wins. Because at the end of the day, don't forget, and I quote what Sarah Cardell said in her final statement, "We are the only country in the world to have achieved this. No other regulator in the world could do what we did." And that is the point that what she wanted, the UK wanted. That was it right there. And they are going after Sony now, and they're going to get Sony big. And if they don't, then you will know that there is clear collusion, bias, whatever you want to call it, there is corruption there. But at the moment, the CMA is blood hungry. They're a bloodhound. They are literally going to go after any big tech right now to try and do what they can. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, Sony's in a world of shit. I mean, the CMA is now hungry because they've beaten Microsoft, one of the biggest companies in the world. Sony is small fry. Sony is just, here, doggy. Here, doggy. All right, I thought this was quite funny, right? I thought this was funny. So, Larry Hrib, I'm sure many of you know who he is, right? You all know who he is, right? Larry Hrib, Major Nelson, the big honcho that was at Xbox for 2 decades. He advertised a deal for PlayStation. The app PlayStation 5 Digital Edition Slim is in stock at Amazon for the US standard price, no discount, $449, delivery this Sunday in many areas. He also advertised earlier the Xbox memory card, which I think was on the 1 terabyte, which was on sale for $100. But no one actually saw, no one ever bothered posting that one, only this one. And you've got people like Hyped, Druid, Unleashed, you got Nicola. They're all jumping on the bandwagon saying that, you know, Larry is now a PlayStation shill. He has joined the PlayStation crew. But, you know, clearly, spoiler, I've always respected and appreciated what they've done. He doesn't give 2 shits about their console wars. It completely shut him down like there was no tomorrow, and it made me laugh. Thing is, the UK essentially got nothing. No, the UK got everything, Edward. The UK got everything. You underestimate how much power they got, how much authority they've got from this. The EU and all the other regulators in the world, they just said okay. The FTC got bitch slapped in the US, but the only one that didn't cave and got exactly what they wanted, regardless of whether it benefited them or not, they got what they wanted, was the UK. So the next time a company wants to do a merger that's a high profile, they're not going to go to the FTC, they're not going to go to the EU, they're not going to go to anyone else. The first point of call will be the UK. That is what it's all about. But I thought this was quite funny. What's this? Alright, so did any of you check out Alana Pierce's video? Edward, I get that. And, you know, I actually wanted to make a video on this, but maybe I might actually kind of do one now. Right, maybe I'll do a little recording now and then I'll publish it, because it's gonna be, I know a lot of Xbox fans aren't gonna want to hear this, right? And I get it that their biggest competitors are the Googles, Amazons, Alibabas, Tencents, but they're overlooking a key point. On this one here, I don't think she covered AI in this one. This was a different video. Oh, right, you would have watched it and you stopped watching it. Okay, I get you what you mean there, Sapo. Do you know what? Let's make this a video. Shall we? I think we should. I think we totally should. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So before I get into my video and talk about why what Edward is saying, I'm gonna get to that later on the stream stage. I've actually got the video and we're gonna go over the video. Basically what she said here is that the Game Awards is basically a popularity contest. And it's basically a bunch of people who put a vote in to say what games are popular, and they go with that. The ones that actually matter, the ones that are actually, that have any credibility, are the BAFTA Awards and the DICE Awards. Those are done with a professional panel where every single judge actually has to play the games. They get given a key code to install the game. They don't have to complete the game, but they have to play enough to understand what the game is, the mechanics, the concept, and whatnot, right? Get a rough feel of the story. They may have like documentation to kind of speed things through in terms of what the story is and whatnot for games that they haven't played, but they have to play the games to be able to judge it. With the Game of the Year award, you don't have to play the game, you don't even have to know of the game. So let's say, for example, I'm not a Nintendo fan at all. I completely ignore Nintendo, but I know that Zelda is a big game. So I will nominate Zelda for one of the Game of the Year positions, even though I just don't care about Zelda. That is how the Game of the Year by Jeff Keighley works. That is basically how. So, you know, the whole Game Awards, essentially, by Jeff Keighley, is worthless. It is entirely worthless. It means nothing. Now, she did try to defend Jeff Keighley with the Hogwarts Legacy not getting a single nomination, I think she's chatting a whole bunch of bullshit. She knows herself that it should have, but she kind of rounded that up by saying, at the end of the day, it is what is popular at the time. And let's face it, Hogwarts Legacy, which I guess not bullshit really, because it kind of matches what she's saying, because Hogwarts Legacy isn't popular. It sold very well, but in the media, it's not popular because of the whole trans rights movement and JKR, right? There's a lot of contention there, a lot of backlash there. So no one wants to touch that within a 10-meter barge pole, right? So in that regard, what she's saying actually does match up. So I retract that statement. She's actually correct. It is a full-on popularity contest. Hi-Fi Rush was good, but it's not popular. Therefore, it's not there. Mario is popular. Everyone knows Mario. Everyone loves the chubby, fat Italian plumber. Link and Zelda, everyone loves that kind of relationship they have where they want to shag each other, but they'll never get to do it because it's a PG, it's a PG game. Then you've got the emo Leon in Resident Evil 4, which was there as a token, in my opinion. Alan Wake was probably one of the only few that actually deserved to be there, in my opinion, and in my opinion should win it. Baldur's Gate is there because everyone decided that, grown men having sex with a bear was the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, when Baldur's Gate came out, all I could hear about was, oh my god, you can have sex with a bear! Yes, yes, yes! And then they went and bought it and wanted to have sex with a bear. I mean, each to their own. That's all I'm going to say. But, the next time they want to laugh at furries and stuff like that, maybe they should think about the reasons why they actually bought Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that was literally the most popular thing I heard people talk about when they went to buy that game. Oh my god, you can have sex with a bear. People that didn't even play the game. Like my brother called me and goes, dude, is it true that there's a game where you can have sex with a bear? And I was like, what are you talking about? And it goes, yeah, apparently I'm hearing people at work talking about it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's literally the topic for Baldur's Gate 3. Right? Now, Spider-Man is a popular game. No matter what you say, it is one of the biggest franchises out there in the world. So it makes sense for it to be there. So as you can see, what she said is actually technically true. It is a popularity contest. That's it. Whereas if you want to see something that's actually properly organized, the BAFTA Awards, which are done by actual industry professionals, not journalists who are biased like the Metro, but actual, developers and publishers, as well as the DICE Awards, which are done by the same, controlled panel. Those are the ones that you really should be paying attention to, not this garbage. No one, Vlad, is saying that it should have been Game of the Year. What I'm saying is it should have got at least an award. It should have, not an award, a nomination. It deserved at least one nomination. To turn around and tell me that not one nomination is deserved for that game, I disagree with anyone that says that. I literally hate relationships in video games. It ruins RPGs when they are shoved in. I mean, yes and no. If it's done correctly, I think it works. If it's done as a token thing just to get brownie points, then sure, yeah, I agree. Killer Instinct. For those of you that are actually into Killer Instinct games, there is a lot coming to Xbox. Arcade, Killer Instinct 2 Arcade, the N64 Golden Age, the Xbox One version, and of course, Killer Instinct 2016 is getting a huge Series S and X upgrade. This is gonna, if you're a Killer Instinct fan, this is gonna be massive on Xbox. And I think this is actually only on Xbox, so it's not even coming to PC. So true exclusive, not a console seller, unfortunately. And this is where I think I'm gonna go into my segue. So let's do a recording. Let's do a recording here. Let me record this because I'm gonna want to publish this. So Hey chat, say hi to YouTube because this is going to be an awesome video. One that some people may like to hear or not like to hear, but definitely say hi anyway. But I think this point here is a really good point. So welcome to another video, folks. We are going to be looking at a topic that I think is worth talking about. One that is definitely something that is going to be a bit contentious, but it's one that Microsoft needs to deal with. So as we can see here, Killer Instinct is going to only be available on Xbox, and the 2016 update is going to be on the Series X and S. It's not going to be available anywhere else. Unfortunately, when it comes to Killer Instinct, no matter how good it is, it's not going to be a system seller. It's not like a Street Fighter 6 or a Tekken 8 or a King of Fighters, the three big fighters. Now, when you're looking at the actual publishers wanting to release games on the Xbox platform, I get what Phil Spencer is doing. He wants to create this ecosystem that basically goes anywhere. You can play your game on the ROG, the Steam Deck, Steam, Xbox, cloud, TV. For him, the whole notion of being able to play anywhere is the greatest achievement for gaming. And I agree. That is definitely a massive achievement, and it's benefited my life so much. But there is a huge problem here, a really big problem, and one that needs Microsoft to actually step in and resolve. Because the problem that we're having right now is one where publishers are skipping Xbox. And why are they skipping Xbox? Because the number of people on their actual ecosystem platform, the actual Xbox, is not a lot. Their market share in terms of just the Xbox console is low. Now, as a publisher, you'll be thinking, I want to get my game out to as many people as possible. So PC is definitely a given. PlayStation, obviously. Nintendo, definitely. But Microsoft's consoles are generally in the, they're quite far behind, and the number of people buying the consoles is dwindling, at least as we've seen through the MPD. Why is this a problem? Well, when you've got remakes like Star Ocean 2, which, let's face it, the Xbox Series X, even the S can run that perfectly fine. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Vita could run that fine, right? I mean, it might be pushing it a little bit, but I reckon it could. It's not a demanding game. We've also seen this with the Pixel remasters. They're not demanding, but they are skipping the Xbox. And the reason for this is market share. Sure, when it comes to software sales, the market share for Xbox is phenomenal. They've got PC, cloud, and console. And now they've got, handheld consoles with their, the Steam Deck, the Asus ROG Ally, the Lenovo Go. They're everywhere. You can play anywhere. Like tomorrow, I'm going to install Windeck OS on my Steam Deck to have like a Windows hybrid Steam operating system, so I can actually install Game Pass games on there and see how that works. But it just gives me the freedom to play games anywhere I want. But as a publisher, none of that matters. Not the Windows side, not the cloud side, unless it's on Game Pass and you're going to get an exclusive deal, or anything else. The only thing that matters is is how many consoles you're putting out. And if you're not putting out enough consoles, that creates a problem. That means that I, as a publisher, have to now think, is it worthwhile me putting games on your platform? Now, with the way Game Pass is, Microsoft first-party games will never be a system seller. They can be great and they can help shift Game Pass, and they may shift a few consoles. That is fine. But they will never be an exodus like, say, Spider-Man, or how Call of Duty is, right? But even now, Call of Duty, as of next year with Call of Duty 24, it's going to be on Game Pass, at least if Microsoft keep their promise. So you've still got less reason to go and buy an Xbox because you can play it on Game Pass PC. So how can Microsoft resolve this? They need to go out and get exclusive third-party games that are only on Xbox. And I'm not just talking your average mill games, I'm talking massive big seller, console seller games like Resident Evil 9. That would be huge, right? We need massive games like, the next evolution of Death Stranding by Kojima, or another Metal Gear that's going to be hopefully that's good and not that resurgent shit that came out from Konami. What I'm saying is they need these big games like Final Fantasy 17. They need these third-party exclusives that aren't going to go to PC, that aren't going to the cloud, that aren't going to Game Pass, that are solely going to be on the Xbox console. That is the only way they're going to increase their market share. I know this may be hard to, fathom. This may be hard to hear. But until this happens, the market share for Xbox will dwindle. It will. It's just common sense. The less reason you have to buy an Xbox console, the less reason you're going to have to play it. And sure, people are saying, oh, and you'll see more people are buying the Series S than the X because they just want it for the Game Pass games, the indie games, or just to trial out games. I know a bunch of people that actually just try the games on Game Pass and then go buy it elsewhere. They won't buy it on the Xbox because they've got an S and they want to actually play the games at a higher fidelity. So the S itself, which was originally designed to infiltrate Japan, and it's actually done a good job. But Microsoft need to actually start to put the big boy gloves on, put their boots up, put their big boy pants on, go out and start talking to these companies and say, right, how much do you want for this game? I know it's going to cost a lot of money. I know I'm going to get ripped off. Make sure that game is the best it can possibly be because I want it to sell my consoles. And once they get to a point where they're shifting out consoles, those third-party exclusives are going to be what shifts the consoles. Game Pass subscriptions will rise. They will, and they will continue to rise. Next year, when ABK games start coming in, you're going to see a huge spike in Game Pass subscriptions. But that means nothing to publishers. At the end of the day, what matters to publishers is your console market share. And Xbox's isn't moving, it's dwindling. Well, not dwindling because it's still growing. But you get the point I'm trying to make. I want Xbox to succeed. I want them to do better, and Phil needs to do better in this market. He needs to be better. He needs to do better. And in my opinion, what he needs to do is go out and get these third-party exclusives. Just recently, Stellar Blade, which is a game I'm highly looking forward to. It reminds me of Nier Automata. One of the games that I really enjoy, really like. It was one of my greatest games of all time, in fact. If you haven't played it, you absolutely should play it. But Stellar Blade is following that footsteps in that type of genre, that type of style of game, at least from the videos we've seen. But Sony has now signed an exclusive second-party deal with them, which means every single game Shift Up make is now going to be a PlayStation exclusive. They haven't bought the publisher, and I suspect if Stellar Blade does phenomenally well, they're going to buy Shift Up from that point and make them first party. But they've now secured another game that's third party that gives you a reason to buy their console in order to play it. This is what Microsoft needs to do. They need to go and get those exclusives, even if it is just a one-off Resident Evil 9 exclusive, or a Street Fighter 7 exclusive, or the Metal Gear 9 exclusive, whatever it is, right? The Final Fantasy 17 exclusive, whatever. I mean, Final Fantasy 9 is a much beloved game. It's got a huge following. Grab that exclusivity. I know it sucks for some people and they're going to hate it, but these are the big games that Microsoft need to go after to grab to shift consoles, because no matter how you put it or how you want to sugarcoat it, anything that goes first party today will shift Game Pass. It may shift a few consoles, but it's going to shift Game Pass more because day one games will be available, as you know, on PC. And if you've got a powerful PC, you have no reason to go out and buy an Xbox. If you've got yourself a Steam Deck or an Asus ROG, you can play all those first party games on your handheld PC. It may not look the best, but you don't need an Xbox. If you have a TV, a Samsung one, you can play it on TV through your internet connection. You don't need an Xbox. As long as this mentality goes, more third-party publishers will ignore Xbox. And that needs to stop. Phil needs to reverse this. It's great for them to support the consumer, be consumer friendly, keep that Game Pass momentum going, but at the same time, go out and get those exclusives that are only going to be on Xbox outside of the Game Pass ecosystem, and get the consoles shifting. Because the more consoles that shift, the more consoles that get sold, the bigger their market share grows, the more companies, publishers are going to stop ignoring Xbox and bring those games, those niche games, over to the platform. Sega right now are talking about Persona 6, and they want to release it on all platforms because of the success that they've seen with Game Pass on Persona 5 and Persona 3 and whatnot. But it's just one publisher, and let's face it, Microsoft and Sega have an amazing relationship. But other companies and publishers don't have that. So Microsoft need to push that. I don't know, folks. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, so I guess it was time to make it on stream. But yeah, this is why you should join the streams and get cool little monologues like this. Right, that's it. Remain legend. All right. So, okay, that was the video. So chat, what do you think? What do you think about what I said? I didn't insult PC gaming. I said nothing of the sort. I did talk about skipping PC. What's wrong with that? If Microsoft want to sell the Xbox console, they need to skip the PC. I said console exclusives skipping PC. Anything that's Microsoft will go to PC. The reality is, I get, as a PC gamer myself, if Microsoft want to push the Xbox console and make it sell, if they want to get a bigger market share so Xbox gamers can, get more games to enjoy, they need to do this. It might suck, but this is a reality. They kind of have to do it. Otherwise, you put yourself in a publisher's position. Let me know why you would put a game on Xbox with a low market share, as opposed to putting it on Nintendo, PlayStation, and PC, which have an enormous market share. And Joseph, console gamers don't care about PCs. And as far as Xbox is concerned, they are a console first, PC second. When it comes to Microsoft, when it comes to the Xbox brand, the Xbox console will always be their primary, unless they turn around and say, we are getting out of the console business. At that point, then the console will just be a, intermediary, a small PC, a mid-range PC that people can buy, as opposed to going balls deep with a proper gaming PC. You're free to disagree. Like I said, it's going to be a contentious topic. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy topic, because I know PC gamers are loving the fact that they're getting games day one now. But when it comes to Microsoft, actually, if they don't care about the Xbox console, then nothing will change. That's the reality. But if they want it to, if they care about the Xbox console and want that market share to grow, they have to do it. There's no two ways about it. The only thing that they can't do is with first-party games. They've already made that declaration, that dedication, that anything that's first-party will be on Game Pass. If they go back on that word now, they will lose so many subs. A lot of people will just leave, because at that point, Microsoft will have lied. So the only avenue that they actually have right now is third-party games. That's it. Oh yeah, Zap, that's fine. But what I'm saying is it can't be day and date. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying for them to indefinitely skip PC. I'm saying if you want to play it now, you go buy an Xbox. If you want to play it in a year's time or 18 months time on PC, then you can wait. But if I wanted to play, say, I don't know, let me think of a game. Let's say Halo Infinite 2 came out today on Xbox, and it was Xbox day one, PC 1 year later. And I'm a Halo fan. I want to play Halo. I'm going to go buy an Xbox. Right? I'm not going to wait a year. I'm surprised people wait a year. I mean, I don't have that sort of self-control, and a lot of people don't. They want to play it now when it's popular, when it's in with the crowd, when everyone's talking about it, when it's trending. They don't want to play it in a year's or 2 years' time. It sells consoles. That's why they're called system sellers. Like I said, it's contentious. It's there is no right or wrong here. I just put my opinion forward. I'll go back and watch the video to see how I feel about how it came out, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why Sony is selling so many consoles. Because their games don't go anywhere else. If you want to play those games, there is only one avenue to go play those games. And sure, the odd few here and there are turning up on PC, but the 99.9% of them are not. So if you want to play those, there's only one place. And unfortunately, Microsoft can't do that anymore because of Game Pass, where they have the Play Anywhere for day one games for first party. So the only avenue that they have is to go sign those third party exclusives. And it may suck for everyone else, but if Microsoft wants to shift those consoles, for the time being at least, that is the only logical path that they can follow. Why is PlayStation selling P-Row? Dusa? And you've got that prerogative, Biscuit. There is nothing saying that you cannot do that. But the average person will not wait. The average person will go and buy an Xbox to play it. Even if they turn around and say they don't play Xbox and they don't have an Xbox, just like we found out with the Red Dragon when he used his Microsoft reward points, he's got Game Pass Ultimate. And he's a Microsoft player. Marwaz, you're speaking for yourself. And that's fine. But you can't speak for everyone else. How much profit did they earn on... I don't think they're actually earning any profit on the console sales. When you pick up a game is when they actually start making a profit. All I'm saying is I'm going by the sales numbers, and you can see it on the sales numbers. PlayStation is selling more. Whatever the reason is, they are selling more. I mean, it could be the better approach, Sapo. That's why we're having this debate, right? But you can play Hellblade 2 on PC. So why should I buy an Xbox? At the end of the day, publishers look at market size. It's also why Activision gave Microsoft the raw end of the deal when it came to Call of Duty and exclusivity. They charged them almost double of what they were charging Sony. and Microsoft had to agree to it. They had a really shit deal when it came to the split. And at the end of the day, Microsoft can't say anything because they don't have the market share. Of course, then Microsoft just went and bought them, so there's always that. But you're talking about first party, Jason. What about the third party games that will potentially not come to Xbox? You don't care about those third party games at all? None of them? No third party games at all? Hey, Sanchezmtz Gaming. Microsoft should keep the Starfield model of day one Xbox console and PC. No console exclusives. PC gamers won't buy a console to play at 30 FPS. Sanchez, day one games will remain day one. They can't change that now. If they do, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, they're going to get so much heat from this because they'll have gone back on their promise. And you know the good old saying, right? The good old saying. What is the one thing that is the hardest to earn but easiest to lose? What is the one thing that is the hardest to earn but easiest to lose? Exactly. If they lose your trust, especially with the trajectory Microsoft is going, all that goodwill that they have, like Biscuit has said, will go down the drain instantly, and they will have to start all over again. It could potentially be unrecoverable. So they can't stop the day one exclusives coming to PC. And I don't want them to stop the day one exclusives coming to PC. I'm just saying they need a few third-party exclusives to shift consoles. There is nothing wrong with that. They may do, but Sony's doing it right now. And it's not really doing anything. Joseph, they're not. And that's why they've extended it to 2 years. Because they've realized that people aren't buying them. So now they've extended the duration from 1 year to 2 years to see how that works. That would sell consoles. This is what I'm saying. Something like that would sell consoles. That's a prime example of something that, you know, GTA is so big, people would flock out to buy it just to play it because they want to play it day one. They didn't have an amazing presence in Europe, but they had a decent presence. But over time, it's dwindled because, like I said, you don't need to own an Xbox to play Xbox games. Happy Cloud Gamer, I am a massive advocate for cloud gaming. I love it. I use it all the time. Use it all the time on my streams. I use it when I'm on my Steam Deck. I use it everywhere. Cloud gaming to me is amazing, and for me it works. I know for some people it doesn't, and for others where it causes problems for, you know, they have performance issues. For me, 99% of the time, it's perfect. I love cloud gaming. I also had Stadia. My Stadia experience was perfect. I played Destiny PvP. I played all sorts of games on there. I never had a problem. None of these latency issues that people were purporting to have. Everything was golden goose for me, and I love it. Cloud gaming to me is like the future, and I see that's where everything is going anyway. So it could just be that Microsoft is pivoting their position now to that future and slowly making their way. Because in 10 years' time, when all these deals, you know, these contracts that they've got in place expire, they're going to take all those games back in-house. The CMA can't do jack shit about it because it is a 10-year deal. They're going to take all the control back from Ubisoft, and they're going to have one of the greatest war chests ever in gaming history. With Activision, Blizzard, King, Microsoft, and then all the other studios, and the only place you can play those is on Microsoft Cloud, on xCloud, in 10-15 years time. Can you imagine how much, you know, what position they're going to be in to be able to do that? And they will do it. That's why they've been buying these companies. They've been building that war chest. And sure, it's hit a little bit of a snag with the whole Ubisoft thing, but it's for 10 years. Microsoft is playing the long game. Well, they needed Game Pass to sell. They needed Game Pass to be enticing, lucrative. And at the end of the day, what is the greatest carrot out there? Day one games. I mean, I guess they could have offered you a discount, but it wouldn't have been as enticing. But that day one game, that is hella enticing, right? That's a great deal. Not having to pay for any more new releases, just for your $10 subscription a month. Pretty damn good, right? The Prime Minister was just publicly saying that. In the background, Brandon, he was going over to Sarah and saying, good job, keep it up. Otherwise, she would have been replaced real quick. Do you remember in the EU regulators, when that guy turned around and asked, what does this mean for my PlayStation? Did anyone ever hear from that guy again? Because he disappeared real quick, real fast. That's independent too, right? But he disappeared real quick, real fast. He was moved out, shipped probably to another solar system, so no one could ever find him to ask him what he actually meant by that question. One day when you're flying around in Starfield in a galaxy far, far away, I'm pretty sure you'll find him in a planet, on a desolate planet, just left there stranded, ruining, you know, banging his head against the bricks, wondering why he said what he did. Clarky, they are slowly becoming PCs, but at the moment they are customized PCs, which are still slightly different to PCs, but they've been taking the hybrid of PCs for a while. I mean, when it comes to Microsoft, they've pretty much made the PCs as the original Xbox, right? Solid mechanical hard drives, normal CPUs, RAM. They've been built the same way. I mean, the Series X runs on XGDK, so that says it all. I've heard this, Sapo. I've heard this. Joseph, that's going to be really interesting, right? That's going to be, I think that what you've just said there is going to be, I think that right there is going to be the defining moment. That right there is going to be the defining moment, in my opinion, because like I was talking to Taz a few days ago, the next COD that comes out, because the one that just came out now, that wasn't even supposed to be a full game. That was just to, you know, conclude Sony's marketing rights and get them get the shackles off Microsoft. The next Call of Duty that lands, that one is going to be huge. They've had 4 years to bake on that game. It's Treyarch has been working diligently to make sure they're delivering the best they can. That is going to be huge. If that game doesn't shift consoles, as you say, then Microsoft has a big problem. If it shifts like 5 million Game Pass subscriptions for Microsoft, that may be enough. Because don't forget, if they shift, they in the court said that if they took Call of Duty off PlayStation and made it exclusive, they worked out that they would need 2 million subscriptions to Game Pass Ultimate in order to subsidize that loss of revenue coming from Sony. So, as you say, Joseph, I 100% agree with you on this. The next COD that comes next year will be huge, and it will be a huge tell on what actually partakes in happening. Yeah, Maori, it's gonna be very interesting next year. It's gonna be very interesting, and it could be that Microsoft in the end turns around and says thing, right? It could be that Microsoft turns around and says, "Look, as far as we're concerned, the Xbox is if the Series X is already running on the XGDK that Windows runs, right? If games are developed on that platform, they work interchangeably on PC and Xbox. It could just be a case where Microsoft says the Xbox is a low-spec mid-range PC. You can buy that for $500 and be happy. But if you want the top-end performance with the 120 hertz, 4K gaming, whatever, then you go to PC. It's kind of like a stepping ladder with different tiers of gaming. It could be that is their ultimate goal. The point I was making earlier is that if Microsoft actually wants to sell consoles and shift consoles, they need to do something outside of the ecosystem. Sorry, I hit the mic. I mean, Sony only had 1 more year, and then it was going to be up for grabs again. But the reality is Sony was going to be offered a far better deal than Microsoft was going to be offered because of their market share. And this is what it all comes down to. Market share. So yes, you're right. But doesn't that then put credence onto what I was saying? And the only way to increase their market share is to do something that's gonna increase their market share. Leafstorm, have an awesome night, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving if you do celebrate that. I already knew the KOTOR remake was gonna be awful when it was licensed under Sony. Apparently it's still in development, so who knows? Doom as Xbox PC exclusive would sell consoles, well, and PCs. Maybe. Remember Blizzard net income more than doubled to 587? Yeah, but its revenue is great, but it's not increasing market share. Black Ops Gulf War will more than likely be on Game Pass. If it doesn't, Microsoft will have broken their promise. Like I said, I've got no problem with first-party games being like the way they are now. There's no problem, the first-party games can't change. But chat, have you seen D-Batch? What's going on with him? Has anyone been has he gone full PlayStation now? My dude has gone full PlayStation, hasn't he? Joseph, I agree. I agree. Again, I agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. The media is anti-Microsoft a lot. But this is why Microsoft, when it comes to their games, they need to just release games that are perfect. I don't know game is perfect, but as perfect as it can be. But like I said in one of my videos, you will still find that IGN reviewer looking at every corner of the map, even glitching out of bounds to find a rock that has a bad texture so they can give it a 4 out of 10. Even if it is out of bounds and you're not supposed to go there, they will still go there and look for it. But the less excuse you can give them, the better. At some point, views have to change. And if that means Microsoft has to get dirty and rough and, you know, start playing hardball, then that's what it's going to take. But at some point, they need to do something because the media is really giving them a bad time. There's such a big PC market, it would take a lot of Microsoft dollars to make anything console exclusive. I mean, Sony's doing it with games like Final Fantasy 16, right? I'm not saying it has to be indefinitely exclusive. I think that's what you guys are misinterpreting what I said. And maybe I didn't make that point clear. I'm not saying that it has to be 100% exclusive and never come out on any other platform. I meant a timed exclusive. And I'll put that in my video as well. I actually meant timed exclusive, not a permanent exclusive. So with the example I use of Resident Evil 9, it would be available on Xbox console for a year and then on PC and PlayStation and everywhere else after a year. I think that was the big misunderstanding. But yeah, D-Batch over here, he's lost it, man. I mean, if you watch this. My dude is clearly having a bad time. And that is Xbox Remote Play. That is PlayStation Remote Play. And I've actually heard a few people now saying that Miles Morales on the PS Portal plays absolutely shocking. There's no explanation for it, but I've seen 3 or 4 reports now all saying it, that all other games work fine, but Miles Morales actually plays the way you're seeing it for some weird reason. I'm guessing there's a lot of data transfer that's coming through. It's just not playing well. But D-Batch is like literally going crazy. I've got to say a few things here. One, he has bad internet for sure, but he hasn't got bad internet for the Xbox One, but he has for the PlayStation One. As I showed in my video, it works very good on Wi-Fi because everyone has the same Wi-Fi and connection as you. How that logic makes sense, I don't know. As much as I like Xbox, they have the worst cloud gaming service. That's a whole bunch of bullshit that's based on your connection. I use Xbox cloud gaming all the time and I've got no problems at all. Well, maybe 1 or 2 problems, but nothing to write home about. They are trying too hard. This is why you get backlash. What the hell does X... I mean, why do you even bring xCloud into it for that time being? We're talking about remote play. No, I just give 2 Fs about fanboys and correct you bitches. You guys... I mean, he's literally lost the plot. I think he's trying to like gain credibility with the blue crowd at this point to make the switch. I mean, he's already been quite unhappy with the way Xbox has handled stuff. I don't know. It's really weird. Hey, Jason, that was a good time, man. That was a good time. Yeah, happy cloud gamer. That is what I meant. I, if that didn't come through, I apologize. I didn't mean indefinite exclusives because that's shit. I wouldn't want that for anything. I don't like it when Sony does it, and I would definitely not like it when Xbox would do it. I think that is bad for gaming, and it is bad for the consumers. But I think a timed exclusive would work and would sell consoles. So I just want to clarify that. Timed exclusive only, not indefinite, because indefinite is shit. Exactly, it's all about marketing. It's about the cool kids are playing. Third-party marketing is important. It is. Like, for example, my brother didn't even know that Xbox had Hogwarts Legacy because there was nothing for it. D-Batch is going through a midlife crisis. He's trying to figure out if he's a bot or pony. Looks like he's been in the state. Fuck's sake, Enrique. PlayStation Portal is now part as a system cell. But literally a slam dunk in their lawsuit. But yeah, it's like, I mean, Dreamcast guy has been banned from the search engine, right? I don't know what he did, but you can't search for him on Twitter anymore. It's remote play, not cloud gaming. Like, I don't know. Like, I've been seeing him on a lot of PlayStation chat channels and stuff. He's really lost the plot. All right. Let's listen to our buddy MBG. Let's put the volume down a little bit on this. Let me know if you can actually hear it, chat. Can you hear it? You can't hear it. MBG is a special case. Let's see. There we go. Let's actually stop this entirely. Let's see if that works.
$dollars to achieve it. Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's like...
You should hear that now, right? All right. So let's react to what he's saying.
Cyberpunk says, did you see the Jez Corden tweet about Xbox about to leapfrog Sony for the first time? LOL, only took $70 billion to achieve it. Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's like, well, first off, I don't really use Twitter anymore, and I think I'm blocked by him anyway for some reason. I mean, if that's what he said, I can only assume that he said that in a like a celebratory way, like Microsoft is now going to leapfrog Sony for the first time, and it's like,
oh, come on. What do you mean you can't see it? What happened? All right, there you go. Happy now? I agree with Clarky. You don't need to.
Yeah, but is that really worth being that excited about when you look at how they had to achieve that?
Now, bear in mind that he actually says this, right? How Microsoft bought... No, you can hear him.
It's like, I'm not...
No, you can hear him. I can see you can hear him. Don't chat shit to me, Nate. I know what you're doing. But back when PlayStation came into the market and they bought Psygnosis, which owned 40% of the market, to kind of take over the industry, no one cared then. The fact that they've been going to third-party studios, turning them into second-party studios to make exclusive games for them, and then turn them and buy them into first-party studios, no one cared then to make them become the powerhouse that they are today. So it's not a problem when Sony does it. But when he does it, it's a massive problem, right? I mean, the double standards there is surreal, right?
Saying it's unfair. There's no such thing as fair in this conversation. This is business. Microsoft can do whatever the fuck they want with their money. It's business. But it's like, in terms of just celebrating and bragging, it's like...
But it wasn't celebrating. They were just stating facts. Apparently, stating a fact is deemed as celebrating. Like, it was my birthday on the 22nd of November. That's a fact. I'm not celebrating the fact that it's a fact. It's just a fact.
Like, I mean, I get it. I get it. Yeah, he literally works for Microsoft. Yeah, he works at Windows Central. I mean, it's like, well, fuck, man. Okay. I don't think Windows Central's like, I don't know if they're actually...
They are not.
Any connection to Microsoft.
They've got no connection to Microsoft.
They probably don't.
They don't, because Jeff Gordon calls out Microsoft like I do all the time when they do something bad or they need to, just be better. I do it all the time. Jeff does it all the time. I mean, just now, even that discussion we had where I made that mini video, I'm calling them out to be better. To shift consoles. Or other ways, like,
because I don't think anybody would listen to anything Jez Gordon says if they did. At least you would hope not, because that would be kind of crazy. But
he's still coping.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's make something clear.
So hard.
Okay, let's make something clear. This is the only way Xbox could ever leapfrog Sony. And I'm not saying that in a fanboy way. That is just the truth.
But when it was the only way for Sony to leapfrog and get a foothold in the competition and pretty much wipe out Sega entirely, that was okay, right, chat? That didn't matter. Now, I'm not saying Sega didn't have their own faults there. They did. But, a huge portion of what Sony did hurt Sega in more ways than Sega could have hurt themselves. But, by buying Psygnosis and all these companies that they were buying, that they didn't leapfrog anything, did they, chat? I mean, I must be coping at this point.
There was no chance that Microsoft would have no chance of leapfrogging Sony, or even matching Sony without buying Activision Blizzard. Let's not forget, chat.
What? Let's not forget. He's about to say something absolutely retardedly stupid. Let's not forget.
Microsoft told the regulators, okay? Microsoft literally pulled out pie charts showing how dominated they were by...
And there you go. I haven't even watched this video, and I could call that he was going to say something so dumb that the fact that he's even saying this is so stupid. I mean, look, let's be realistic, right? Let's just be realistic for a second about what he said, okay? Let's just be realistic. As a company who is trying to buy one of the biggest third-party publishers in the world, not the biggest, but one of the biggest, am I going to go to the regulators and say, hey man, check me out. I'm so strong, and this is going to make me stronger. Look at these market shares. Look how strong we look. It looks so good, and it's going to make me so much more good. What do you think the regulators are going to turn around and say? It's like, of course you're going to make yourself go and look weak. You look weak to make it, the whole transaction go through smoother. Because if you are weak and you are in last place, which is how Microsoft positioned themselves for the past 2 years, which in my opinion has actually done some damage, the whole deal goes through a lot smoother. And as we saw, every regulator, barring the stubborn CMA, actually pushed it through without any concern to to market share competition, because Microsoft positioned themselves that way deliberately. I mean, for him to even say something like that, like I called it, is just dumb.
By Sony. And they literally said, Microsoft's president literally said, we need this to survive.
And yet, what did Jim Ryan say? Can anyone quote what Jim Ryan said? Can anyone quote it? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone out there? Can you quote it? Without Activision and Blizzard, PlayStation could never recover. You won't talk about that, though.
Let alone compete.
You won't talk about that, though.
So, I mean, if that gets people excited, like, oh, shit, Microsoft just paid $68 billion for Activision. Now they're about to leapfrog Sony. If that's what gets you excited, good for you, man. I have no problem with that. But that doesn't get me excited. That just sounds like, okay. And then if Sony buys Take-Two Interactive, now they're going to leapfrog Microsoft again. How exciting. That's not fucking exciting. It's crazy. It's fucking wild is what it is. But that's not exciting. You know what would be exciting?
Take-Two.
Hellblade 2 getting a fucking...
What the fuck is he smoking? Holy shit. They can't even afford Bungie. They're going to afford Take-Two. Holy shit. They had to go on a free payment plan to fucking afford Bungie. And he's talking about Take-Two. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, the cope in this guy. My God.
95 on Metacritic and being heralded as one of the best video games ever made and getting Microsoft prestige, goodwill.
Oh shit, man. That was good. That was good. I mean, Sony literally went and took out a Klarna free payment plan to buy Bungie because they couldn't afford to pay for it in one go. And my dude is coping and saying they're gonna buy Take-Two. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, this guy, man. This guy. Oh, this guy. Oh, he's back. This is back. PlayStation guys celebrate console sales revenue non-stop. Hellblade 2 needing a 95 meta for prestige, but PlayStation hasn't hit that since. All right, let's see what All Might has been to. If Microsoft statements are true about needing ABK, are Jim Ryan's about never recovering? Is this the same thing?
Cyberpunk says, "Did you see the?"
Yeah, it's the same thing. Because he spoke about Hellblade in that as well, didn't he? I must have been laughing my head off when he was talking about it. Did you see this with Jay Barry? Have you seen this? Oh, they're gonna get sued, Clarky. They're gonna. I can't. The only thing I can see is them doing an out of court settlement.
But you're comparing the wrong things. You're comparing the functionality of a cell phone that's $1,200 to a device that's $200. That's a dedicated product. Compare what the cell phone can do as far as the remote play experiences.
£100 cell phone, or mobile phone as we call them in the UK, can do exactly what the PlayStation Portal can do. You don't need a £1,200 phone to do it. Trust me, you do not. My kid has a Xiaomi Redmi 9, which is about £80 now if you look on eBay. It's an old phone because he took my old phone, and that can remote play. How do I know? I've tested it. It works.
Obviously, he can't do that because he don't have a portal, so you can't play it. You can't compare the remote play experiences. Remote play on a cell phone or any other product, you don't do the same things that the portal can do as far as like the DualSense and all that stuff features. You know what I mean? You don't have that. You know what I mean? If that's a deal breaker for you, or if that's like a small, minute thing to you, then obviously, yeah, you're not going to buy a portal, because I can do remote play on my Steam Deck or whatever. But if that is a big deal for you and you want the DualSense features to carry over, then it's a big sell for you on a remote play. But what I wanted to show here is that I just uploaded a video here where I'm showcasing that even when you remote play with the PlayStation Portal, you can also do a picture-in-picture. So here I'm playing Tales of Arise, and on PlayStation 5 doesn't have like a dedicated browser app, but it does have a browser where if you send yourself like a hyperlink through the messenger, you can access that, and you can access the browser on the PlayStation. So I sent myself a YouTube video that I did, which is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and you know, I was talking about the previews and whatnot. And here, whatever the PlayStation 5 can do, the Portal can do. So if you,
oh my God, did you just hear that? Right, that was the point. Did you hear that, chat? I'm gonna rewind it as I go in Lion's Pride. I'm gonna rewind it just so you can hear it again. Right, brace yourselves for freezing level IQ. Brace yourself, because just when you thought this guy didn't have any more in him, he came back and said, you know what? I got another one in me. Here we go.
And here, whatever the PlayStation 5 can do, the Portal can do. So if you...
I mean, how stupid do you have to be? So, does this mean that the Portal is actually doing picture-in-picture in itself? Does this mean that the Portal is actually playing that YouTube video? It's like that scene in Scream where the guy goes, but wait, there's more. It's like, I'm really dumb, but wait, I got another one. And then it comes up with this sort of rubbish. The Portal needs the PlayStation to operate correct. Without the basically, right? What he's doing is running the game on PlayStation while he's in front of his TV. He sent himself a YouTube link on PlayStation, not through the Portal, but on the PlayStation 5. When you open that link on the PlayStation 5, because originally the PlayStation 5 had a browser, but because everyone was using that browser to play xCloud and GeForce Now, Sony basically disabled the browser from the main UI and cut all of its features, basically watered it down. But if you send yourself a URL, you can click on it and it will still boot it up because the OS still has that functionality. And what you can do via the PlayStation 5 is snap it to the left or right? So you can actually watch it. So what the Portal is then doing is exactly what a projector would do. Project it onto your screen. That's the easiest way to think of it. So what he's saying is that if he had his PS5 plugged into a projector, which was projecting it onto the wall, that wall could do everything that his PS5's doing. That is literally what he just said. Look, listen to what he's saying.
And here, whatever the PlayStation 5 can do, the Portal can do. So if you...
Now, change the word Portal with my wall, right? Right, chat? Change the word Portal with my wall.
You know, I was talking about the previews and whatnot. And here, whatever the PlayStation 5 can do, the Portal can do. So if...
Because it's just projecting that image onto a screen or onto the wall. It's not actually doing jack shit. Now, for those of you people that are actually buying it and enjoying it, I mean, it's crazy how remote play has now suddenly become the greatest thing since sliced bread. You'd think it's the greatest technology since AI or anything else that's come along. You know? Diablo, originally, yes, your PS5, when it was day one launched, had a browser.
If you can, so basically what the portal is doing is it's mirroring whatever is going on and what.
Oh, now it's mirroring. First it was whatever your PlayStation 5 can do, your portal can do too. It can play the games and show the videos and snap it and everything, but now it's mirroring.
Whatever you do on your PlayStation 5. So I sent myself the message here, as you can see.
Diablo, that's a very good question. I am seeing a lot of people showcasing how they are sitting at home just for a video to play their thing. I mean, there are PlayStation fans that are going out to their mum's house and they're saying, hey, look at me. I've come to visit my mum, but I'm on my PS Portal. Mate, if I went to my mum's house and I took my console out, she'd take that shit and break it and then beat me as well after, just for disrespecting her. She'd be like, you've come to see me today, not to play on that shit. My mum would be like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, hey, I've come to see you, uncle. It's been a long time. Ah, screw you, man. I'm going to sit down and play on my portal. My dudes are going to be at a wedding. They're going to be like, oh, look, the bride and groom are coming in. Come on, man. It's like, you can't make this shit up. It's for people that like to game while taking a crap. You got a mobile phone for that. You don't need a £200 device for that. That gaming session is either going to be a really, really short session or a really long one. Oh yeah, I know. You put it on rest mode, and then you can turn it off, right? Put it on rest mode.
Then I, clicked on it, and it opens up the browser, and then from there I can snap the browser to the side and have YouTube on the side. So if I wanted to watch a podcast, play a game on the PlayStation Portal, I can do so. Or if I want to listen to a podcast, I can do so. See, I'm playing the game. This is my nephew. He's recording, so he didn't know about the whole focusing and all that stuff. But you get the gist of what I'm showcasing here. Playing the game. Having YouTube to the side and this and that. For what he's trying to say is that you can't do that on the portal, but you can absolutely can, because what he's televising here about watching a movie or doing that and playing the game, you can definitely do that.
No, what he's saying there, you dumb fuck, is on a mobile phone you actually have capability to open multiple apps over your app. On my Samsung app, I can play a mobile game and then have a browser on top or whatever I want on top, and it's native. The portal doesn't do anything. It's coming through the PlayStation. How dumb are you? I mean, literally, how dumb are these? I mean, they are literally grasping at anything to justify the purchase of a £200 paperweight. Now, the easiest way to justify this, right? The easiest way to justify it is to turn around and say, hey, I want my controllers broken in half, slapped onto a tablet that's cheap as shit, but it works. And that's it. It doesn't do anything that anything else can't do, but I want those haptic feedbacks. Of course, then the alternative argument to that is, well, why don't you Bluetooth your controller into your phone and do it that way? I'm not getting into that one because I don't have an answer to that one.
On the PlayStation Portal, it is not an issue doing it on the PlayStation.
I mean, Lion's Pride, now that you mentioned Wii U, did any of you see the Digital Foundry video where they basically were talking about the PS Portal and how it's a waste of time, a waste of money, a gimmick, and then John. Alex asked John, I have a question for you, and I want you to be honest. What does this do that the Wii U pad doesn't do? And is the Wii U pad technologically superior? And then the guy was like, oh, well, yeah, it is.
Portal. So listen, man, stop the hating on the PlayStation Portal, man. If you don't have the device, if you're not interested in the device, it is okay. It is cool. You know what I mean? But majority of the people that do have it, they enjoy the product. You know what I mean? They're enjoying the product. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like if you don't have a use case scenario for the PlayStation Portal, that is absolutely fine.
No one has a use case scenario for the Portal. It's just a luxury.
You know, if you don't have a use case scenario for it, that's absolutely fine. Don't get it. The people that do have a use case scenario for it, obviously they're going to buy it. Me personally, I remote play a lot. I remote play at work. Now I'm even remote playing even more because there's times where I'm just laying down, like I said. And
But let's get this right, chat. Let's get this right. So my dude remote played a lot. He had remote play capabilities with his phone because he remote played a lot. But now that he's got a £200 accessory, he's remote playing even more. You what, mate? So you were able to remote play, and now you're able to remote play, and now you're remote playing more because you were able to do exactly what you was doing before? Does that make sense to anyone? So he was remote playing before, and now that he's remote playing again, he's remote playing even more. Fuck it. I think this is why people are mocking them more than anything. If they are enjoying the product, shut up and enjoy it. But this whole masquerade that they're doing, trying to justify that this product is like the best technology ever created in the past decade, is dumb. They're going about like this is the latest, you know, ingenious technology that has been created in the past decade. It's crazy. And to think that D-Batch is actually trying to, commit seppuku on this hill of all hills blows my mind. It's not so much short. I mean, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can remote play anywhere, right? So you can go to another state if you want. As long as the internet there is good and you're connecting through the internet and it's going to find your PlayStation 5, it will connect. How good it will run is a different matter. Latency will always be a thing. The further away you are, the worse the latency is going to get. Hey, look, full disclosure, I reached out to Sony for a review copy. They turned around and told me no. They weren't nasty about it. They just said my channel wasn't big enough for them to consider me. And they said in the future, if for future hardware, if my channel improves, then they'll consider me. But right now, they said, based on my channel size, they wouldn't be able to send it to me to review. But, I did actually reach out because I have no intention of buying this thing, but I did want to see just how good or bad it actually is. Unfortunately, I'll never know because I'm not buying one. But yeah, that was their response. At least they weren't nasty about it, especially considering I actually they wanted stats of the channel that I'm gonna be doing it on, and they saw I gave them this channel, but they were still okay about it. They just said your channel just didn't hit the quota of subscriber count. Ah, well.
I can continue playing a game. You know what I mean? I could continue playing the game. I've been doing that with Baldur's Gate. I've been doing that with Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn DLC. And I've been having a great time with it.
But you were doing that before.
We remote play. the PlayStation Portal remote player is the best PlayStation remote play experience you will experience.
That's
you have
true.
the DualSense capabilities with the controller being split and the screen in the middle. The screen is beautiful. You know what I mean? It's a huge screen. That is a beautiful screen.
Okay, explain this to me, right? Explain this to me. Okay, chat. Just explain this to me, all right? Because I don't know. Let me see. Not there. No, give me a second. You gotta explain this to me, chat. You gotta explain this to me, because I'm not even gonna take my Steam Deck out. That shit's getting formatted tomorrow. All right, now we can get rid of my laptop as well. Give me a second, chat. You're gonna see the back of my chair for a second. I just need to get something out of the footrest. Because this is the... Right. All right, chat. All right. We're good now. We're good. Let me get my headset back on because we're gonna do something special now, right? I don't actually have the full setup for this. But you know what? What we're gonna do is I'll get my PS5 controller as well. All right, chat. We're doing this. We're doing this right now. Right. Unfortunately, I don't have the full setup. I am gonna actually go buy the full setup, just so we can all see this. Right. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make a video as well. So, I'm assuming you can all see what this is. Can you? Can you see what it is? An iPad. Good job. This one might be a bit more difficult. This is a Samsung tablet. It's a bit too big. So this one probably wouldn't be ideal. But you can get the 8-inch versions of these mini iPads, right? And they're quite small. A little bit smaller than this 9.7. And what you can do, that I've seen you can, is buy an attached cradle, right? So this sits like this. Right? So it'll essentially sit like this. In fact, you can do that with the iPad. You can buy a cradle that straps on top, things onto the control pad, boom! Right? What's going to provide you the best gaming experience? What he's got there, considering how light this is, or a actual DualShock controller with a 9-inch screen. And don't forget, it's not positioned like this on the controller. It's actually positioned in a position where you would actually look at the screen, because the way that it's positioned is like this. So you're kind of holding the controllers like that, which feels really awkward. But this would be positioned like this. And you can remote play. I'm going to buy the cradle, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make a video. Tell me, between the two, which would give you the best PlayStation experience? I tell you, it's a trick question. They're exactly the same, just one gives you a bigger screen. So if the bigger screen is more important to you, my setup actually is a better deal.
You know what I mean? The sound is wonderful. The device is light. It feels good in the hand, and it's only $200. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's no different than you the PC weirdos that's comparing 4090,
shots fired, guys.
the best CPU, best this and that they pay $4,000 for, and say, oh, but my PC is better than a PlayStation 5. No shit, Sherlock. Your PC is built to do way more than what a PlayStation 5 can do. It can handle way more with the specs, the price that you're paying for. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to compare iPhone, 15 Pro Max. The iPhone is in its entirety to what a PlayStation Portal can do, because the iPhone in its entirety can do so much more than what a PlayStation Portal can do. But this device costs $1,200. This device.
All right, I'm going to stop him right there because he keeps going, talking about the iPhone, and I want to prove. I just want to prove something. I just want to prove something. I want to prove something. Right? I want to prove something. Because this guy, I don't know, chat. He's full cope. He's full cope. But I want to show you something. I want to show you something. Okay. Okay. That's a bit big. All right, that'll do. So, remember I was telling you about my phone, my Redmi phone, that I tested remote play on? This is my phone, but my old phone. Served me well for about 7 years before I gave it to my kid. He was loving it, by the way. You can make this dude an offer for probably 60 quid and you'll get the phone, right? You'll get the phone. But this 60, 70 pound phone is all you need because it has a very similar chipset to that of the PS Portal. Almost identical in terms of technical power, but it has a better processor. So it runs remote play flawlessly. I don't get why he keeps saying, I need a £1,500 iPhone. When a £70 iPhone, a Redmi, Xiaomi, cheap Chinese phone, does exactly the same thing. Right? He keeps using the iPhone as a gotcha moment. But what he doesn't realize is that no one has his level of IQ. At least I hope no one does, because we'd be filled with too many droids in this world, and no one wants to be a droid. Not even the droids want to be a droid. Just go ask them in Star Wars. They're so dumb, they keep getting themselves killed. We don't want to see that, right? We don't want people running around with that level of intellect. But an £80 phone, which can be gotten, that I've seen the cheapest around is about 60, 65 quid, can do exactly what he's saying that he's only a £1,500 phone can do. I did. So, to me, that's just, what the hell, right? What the hell? Now, why did that turn off? Why did that turn off? Let's see. That goes there. All right, so let's close this because we don't need it anymore. All right. Uh-oh. Now I've broken the audio. Now I've broken the audio. Let's fix the audio. There we go, that should be it.
200. But what this device does, that's dedicated to do remote play, it does it better than what this device can do. When it comes to remote play, and that's just a fact, because it's dedicated to do remote play. This is not dedicated to do remote play. It's a good experience to do remote play. It's a fine experience. You know what I mean? If you're cool with, just remote playing from the phone and, having your phone dedicated to this, playing the game.
How can a phone a device which can do exactly the same function as another device be any different?
Whatever time, and ignoring whatever is going on in your life with that, perfectly fine. You know what I mean? But if you want the best remote play experience, you want to get a PlayStation Portal. And that's just the fact of the matter. Anybody that gets upset with that, seek help.
Now, the only person that privates their video while you're watching it is King Fresh. He's the only one that does that, man. He did that as well. There's no denying he did that. I mean, dude doesn't know it's just an Android tablet. That's all it is that is there. It's just an Android tablet, and he's trying to say it's a dedicated device. It's an Android tablet. Did you see about this? Hideki Kamiya. He wanted 9 episodes for Bayonetta, but now that he's left, it looks like apparently his dream of having 9 Bayonettas may be gone forever after the third one didn't do so well. That's disappointing, because I think Bayonetta is a good game. But I think they went a little weird with the third one. I think the simplicity of the first one was good. Simplicity of the second one was good, where they added maybe multiple characters. But the third one, they just decided to mix it up a bit too much, I think. But I really hope they continue the Bayonetta series, because I think it has a place in the gaming market. But it's down to Nintendo, because they own it, right? I think. So, before we get to the main video that Stage was talking about, apparently there is no Xbox tax, right? I'm just going to leave that there for a second for you all to read the byline that IGN has said. Tell your friend at work who keeps asking you about a PS5 for their kid. But there's no bias in the media, right? Can we all agree that there is no bias here? This was just your friendly neighborhood IGN deal seeker looking out for his fellow man, fellow human, to try and find a place where there is no bias. He was just looking out for his fellow human. Can we agree on that? Does anyone agree on that? Is there anyone that's sane that would agree on that? No? No, I thought not. Because you can't make that shit up, right? But there's no bias, chat. There's no bias. But this leads us on. No, they did not. I didn't find one. If they did after I looked, that's fine, but I didn't see any. But guys, listen, there's no bias here. The media bias is not real. The fact that Jim gave, games a 4 out of 10, the fact that Metro is shitting on Xbox every chance it gets, the fact that Eurogamer is shitting on Xbox every chance it gets, the fact that IGN is shitting on Xbox every chance it gets, there is no media bias. That is what they're trying to say. So if there's no media bias, and that is what they're trying to say, then what they're technically saying is Xbox is shit. Because it's either they're being biased, or they're saying Xbox is shit and you shouldn't buy one. Right? And either way, they shouldn't be in a position where they're trying to sway public opinion. That's all I'm saying. Because no matter how you look at it, there is no silver lining at the end of the tunnel. It's just a bigger hole that these people dig. But this is the video you guys were all talking about. So I thought we'd go through this video and we'd finish with this video because I actually like Destin. He's actually pretty level-headed and he actually speaks a lot of sense, at least most of the time. So I think, I think this is going to be... I haven't seen this video, by the way. I haven't watched it. It was just recommended to me to check out. So I figured we could, kind of react to it as we're going throughout the actual stream and see where it leads. So buckle up, get your jimmies in a twist, and let's get the show on the road. Remember the journo that posted his Cuphead tutorial? That's the game media.
I have to talk to you guys about this Xbox tax trend that I keep seeing people talk about online because I think it's absolute nonsense. So first of all, I have seen a lot of people talking about the Xbox tax, and they're usually relating it to Xbox not getting a Game of the Year nomination. Many people felt that Starfield should have gotten an Xbox Game of the Year nomination. But you know what? That game was contentious. No matter how you look at it, that game either scored incredibly well or it was sort of middling. So the fact that it didn't get nominated doesn't mean that it's a bad game. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that it was a bit of a contentious title and it didn't get nominated for Game of the Year.
Okay, so let's stop him right there. The only publications that reviewed it badly, and let's be realistic. Starfield had its issues, right? It did. Anyone that says that it didn't, you're lying. It's not a perfect game, but it's not a bad game, and it's a very good game. And in my opinion, it deserved at least a nomination. Maybe not to win it, but it deserved a nomination. But what he's saying here is baloney. And if you're going to sit there and tell me that the Metro, Eurogamer, IGN, Merit Station, Gym Station, I mean, the list can go on. If you're going to turn around and tell me PC Gamer, for example, actually reviewed this with good intentions, you're on drugs or you're smoking something that probably you want to start sharing with the rest of the community because they probably want to be on that same level headed too. Now, I respect Destin because he says it how it is, but here he is plain wrong. He's wrong within the first minute of the video because those media outlets were, they were frothing at the mouth when they didn't get the review copy early on. And the fact is, as soon as they got it, you knew that they were going to shit all over it. You just knew because it was a thing.
There are several games that are multi-platform that did get nominated for Game of the Year that are also released on Xbox. Off the top of my head, Alan Wake is one of them. But the thing that really bothers me is that people keep talking about how the media is too hard on Xbox or Xbox doesn't get a fair shake. And yet channels like mine exist where I genuinely praise Xbox, I criticize a lot of PlayStation's practices, and I find this whole conversation about an Xbox tax quite bizarre.
The problem with his channel is when it comes to IGN and any publication that actually has any foot in the race, just like my channel, no one gives a shit. It has no sway. It has zero vote. Your opinion matters fuck all in the grand scheme of things when it comes to anything that actually matters. Just like mine. It matters jack shit. So you could be praising it to high heaven. When it comes to the big bucks and the big decisions, it means fuck all.
Are there a few outlets who have gotten it wrong or have been rather unnecessarily scathing towards Xbox? Yeah, and it's weird when it happens. The PC Gamer thing I'll talk about in a little bit was a little surprising to say the least. But just keep an eye out for things from that author if you don't think... if you don't want to align with what they think. Like, I never understand why people get so upset about like what somebody thinks online when you could just read somebody else. Like, if you like Starfield, go check out Paul Tassie's stuff. I've had him on the show many times. Paul Tassie adores Starfield. But you know who else talks about Xbox's shortcomings? Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer in 2022 called Xbox's release schedule a disaster. Because you have to take an honest look at what happened with Xbox, starting with the launch of the Xbox Series X and forward. And if you want to go back even further, you can take a look at the original Xbox One and see what happened with that launch. It was contentious. We all know that console launched and it had just the worst PR it could possibly have, talking about putting DRM into their games. The CEO at the time, I'm blanking on his name for some reason, but anyway, he said stuff like buying Xbox 360 isn't smart to do when you're talking.
Do you guys remember that, by the way? Don Matrick, when he turned around and goes, for those people that don't have internet, there's always the Xbox 360. Oh man, that guy is special. But again, what he's saying here is again incorrect. Because those people that you're saying that you shouldn't, it shouldn't bother you, those people are in the review process. Those people are in the voting process and do sway the decision. If they are biased and they are deliberately downplaying a game because it's on platform X, Y, or Z, they are deliberately going against and, essentially making a mockery of the voting process, right? So again, he's wrong here. Sure, when it comes, what he's saying here is, what you want to do is go to the review channels that are going to basically blow wind up your ass so they can make you feel better. But that's not how it should be. Reviews should be impartial and to the point, not be biased. The fact that they're biased is the problem. And you've just openly admitted that these people are biased. But these people also have a hand in the actual voting process. So that then makes the whole voting process complete mockery and a sham because it's already biased. It's already corrupt. You've literally just said that. How can you then try to downplay it? Anyway, let's continue.
Directly to your consumers. And it's just been sort of a bizarre reaction that I've seen online to this Xbox tax. Look, I love Xbox. But you can love a product and recognize its shortcomings. I love a lot of PlayStation games also, but I don't like a lot of the corporate strategies that are implemented that cost the player more money. And I feel like that's a big reason why I'm seen as an Xbox fanboy, because I'm very critical about the corporate strategies. But if you look at the content that I produce about the games, it's glowing for PlayStation. Xbox has had a lot of problems in the games category. Halo Infinite needed to be delayed to launch in the state that it launched. I stand by that. I love the Halo Infinite campaign, but multiplayer took a long time to hit its stride. Starfield was delayed a year. Had it come out in
So Baldur's Gate getting 3 years early access, a 3 years beta, was never a problem, right? It was perfectly okay. But multiplayer launching in a beta is actually a problem.
2022, when it was supposed to, there is a chance that it would have been nominated for Game of the Year. Granted, Elden Ring also came out that year, so I think we can all agree that Elden Ring likely would have taken it. But let's talk about a few of these posts that I've seen, because I just find it fascinating that people who I like and respect, like Post Up here, are talking about this Xbox tax. Modern Warzone tweeted, Modern Warfare 3 is the best COD multiplayer we've had in years, but somehow is also the worst reviewed Call of Duty game of all time. I don't understand it, especially when you compare scores to some of the other games like Vanguard. Do you think these reviews are deserved? And he also talks about Doug Dagnabbit, who says, genuinely don't understand Call of Duty getting its worst reviews of all time with Modern Warfare 3, especially not the multiplayer. Now, he's correlating the fact that Xbox just closed on the Activision Blizzard deal with it getting poor review scores. That is insane to me.
How is that insane? That is literally what happened. Every single review that came out was saying Microsoft's first Call of Duty game. Like, they literally had 23 days to develop the game, you know, pre-production, production, QA, script, go gold. They did all of that in 23 days and released the game according to places like PC Gamer, Eurogamer, IGN. How can you turn around and say that this is not what the media is saying? The media literally said Microsoft's first Call of Duty is a disaster. The hell is he saying?
You think that journalists are playing Call of Duty thinking, well, Xbox owns this now, I have to give it a bad score?
Yes!
Like, that's the narrative that people are trying to say is causing the Xbox tax, and that's insanity to me.
It's not insanity.
Here's what I actually...
You work for IGN. That is why it's insanity. You're holding the company line. I'm sorry. That is exactly what's happening. The campaign could be bad, but at no point has anyone turned around and spoken about the multiplayer. And even IGN turned around and said, we've had a little bit of time with the multiplayer, but we can see that it's actually slower when it's proven to be faster. The overall gameplay is worse when it's proven to be better. The overall mechanics are cheesy when it's proven to actually be better for the experienced players. Literally everything they said has been rejected by pro Call of Duty players. Because the person that they got to review Call of Duty was upset, right? They were upset that they couldn't wear the color pink on their character in a warfare game. They were upset that the scenery was drab with colors in a war-torn country. That they didn't have any pride colors or pink colors or, you know, rainbows everywhere. They were pissed off because they couldn't put a biff on their head like in Fortnite with a pink headpiece and run around with a fucking dildo and start shooting people.
Actually think happened. I think Activision Blizzard, who we heard rumors of canceling this particular release of Call of Duty, rushed it out because they have to hit their yearly cadence to get the game out, and it's just subpar to many people who are reviewing the product.
This game came out to end. This was supposed to be a DLC, right? Because it should have been Infinity Ward's game that came out now. It should have been Infinity Ward, then Treyarch next year, and then Sledgehammer. But the reason why this game exists as a $70 price box game, which I disagree with, but it is what it is because they wanted to end a marketing contract with Sony. That's it. The fact that no one is saying this is bonkers. Because if they didn't release this as a box product, the next Call of Duty that would have come in 2024 would have been exclusive to Sony's marketing rights. And I'm guessing someone at Microsoft went in and saw Call of Duty 2024 and said, fuck that shit looked good. That looked real good. That's mine. You better sort this shit out.
I think that's that crazy. What's more likely, that there's a grand conspiracy by the entire industry to be negative about Xbox, or that one Call of Duty was kind of bad?
Nope.
Like
the whole industry is conspiracy.
The multiplayer, for the most part, if it was reviewed separately, was a bit more positive than the campaign. The campaign was quite negative. Even influencers who were paid to play the campaign said it wasn't great. Like, the fact that you think this is like something about it has nothing to do with Xbox. Call of Duty is just a situation that is very convoluted.
Influencers, right? Influencers were paid to play the game to, let's see. If you're playing a high profile game and the media is saying it's shit, other people are saying it's bad, but you're playing it and you actually turn around and say, oh, man, I'm actually really enjoying this, man. Really am. Like, it feels so good. Like, I'm really, really loving the fluidity of the gameplay. It's actually gone back to the old, like, Infinity War style gameplay. Like, this is really good. Is your videos or your channel gonna get the clicks and the views by saying it's good? Or are you gonna get the views and the clicks by saying, this fucking sucks, man. It sucks. It's trash. What do you think, chat? Which is going to get you more clicks? Nah, Sony wouldn't have wanted that to be a full release. No way. Sony would have wanted that to be a DLC, and for the 2024 to be a Sony exclusive for marketing rights.
And complicated, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it was purchased by Xbox. And by the way, here's the tweet from Doug Dagnabbit. He runs Modern Warzone. So Doug has a vested interest in Call of Duty doing well because he runs the main outlet that covers Call of Duty. So of course he's going to be like super vested in that game doing well.
So how's that any different to influencers wanting to get clicks? So how is that any different to influencers wanting to get clicks? Because they are very invested into this thing called money. Chat, have you heard of this thing called money? It goes by different names in different parts of the world. See, here in the UK, it's called a pound. We call it Great British Pounds. In the US, it's called dollars. In Turkey, it's called lira. You know, in other countries, it has a different name, but it all comes down to the same thing. But I'm sure you've all heard of this concept called money and how people like to earn money, right? So if you like to earn money, and if you can shit on a game to earn money, I think that is a very big incentive to talk shit about a game to earn big money. Hasn't it been said Ryan and Sony didn't want to spend money advertising an Xbox game? Well, actually, Jim Ryan turned around and asked Phil Spencer to waive the marketing rights, yet give him the next Call of Duty official full release for free, and Phil Spencer said, no, you're paying for that.
And no fault to you. Like, if this video gets sent to Doug, like, I'm not slamming him or anything Josh, like that. Good. But like, you have one source post, it's Doug, and then you source probably the tweet that he made, and then you talk about Charlie Intel, where you talk about PC Gamer, and I alluded to this a second ago. PC Gamer review says Modern Warfare 3 is not fun because Sledgehammer Games took a sledgehammer to the movement that Infinity Ward had in Modern Warfare 2. The reviewer calls slide canceling and faster mantling cheesy techniques. Now, I will say this. I think it's totally fine to question and critique reviews and how they're written. I think that's fine. But to say that the way that's written is anything to do with Xbox, it's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. I just had to say this because, like, I see people I like talking about this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not a thing.
I definitely want to, Cracker.
By the way, if you like my channel, hit that subscribe.
As long as we get access to it, for sure. As long as we're getting news on upcoming stuff, I'll definitely cover it because it's going to be interesting. And as you know, I do like my legal stuff. But I don't think it's insane at all. I really think... I mean, when you have publications coming out and saying the first Xbox Call of Duty game is a bust. The first Xbox or Microsoft Call of Duty game is a bust. They are openly blaming Microsoft for it. So the fact that he's denying this it's mind-boggling to me. It makes no sense. It actually blows my mind.
I button, hit that bell. I don't think I'm, as an Xbox-centric channel, denying the Xbox tax. I don't think I'm going to make a lot of friends with this one, but I had to say it. Continuing on, Microsoft celebrates...
Now, I'm not saying this Xbox tax thing is real or not. All I'm saying is that the media is biased. You can call it whatever label you want, but the media is biased. It is that simple. There is no two ways about it. The media is biased. The fact that they were blaming Microsoft for the release of Modern Warfare 3 says it all, right? Josh, basically, Sony created a monopoly, has been price fixing, and has cut out all competition for digital codes. And that, as you know, is frowned upon, almost illegal. So they've been getting away with it for a number of years, and now the CMA's turned their attention to Sony.
This criticism I agree with. I think that this is phrased in a very strange way. Microsoft celebrates...
I can. Also, someone asked me in chat about me covering the PlayStation versus CMA case. I've actually got a video already, Cracker, talking about this. I think it's like a 10-minute video. Feel free to check that out. It's actually liked 600 times and disliked 28 times.
It's conquest of Activision and the triumph of capitalism with a montage video that mashes up Modern Warfare, Halo, Diablo, Starfield, and more. Now, I have to imagine that this writer does not like capitalism, and the fact that they're talking about it like a conquest. Every employee wanted this to happen. Every employee who has stock is going to make a ton of money. Most of these bigger companies offer an employee stock purchase program. So everybody profited handsomely from this. And if you look at the tweets from the developers, like I just disagree with PC Gamer on this one. And that's fine. It's fine to have a healthy debate. But to say it's an Xbox tax, I think that's a little much.
Is it though? Why doesn't he bring up... Look, why doesn't he bring up all the PC Gamer tweets about Starfield, about Forza? Where are those? Why doesn't he bring those up? Well, because it doesn't suit the journalist agenda? I mean, why doesn't he bring those up? The tiniest thing that was a problem with Starfield instantly was reported like 9 times. You know, why is none of that reported? Why is none of that being talked about? Why is it only just that one tweet about some disgruntled person? Exactly, Stage. I mean, I think there's a couple of points he's made which I can somewhat see, but as of right now, we're approaching 10 minutes, and he's completely wrong. I mean, at least it's in my opinion, he is completely wrong. He will not talk about IGN tweets because he probably cannot discuss company matters or disagree with the company line. Just like Ryan McCarthy said, I don't understand why they didn't let me review Starfield. And they gave it to someone who is not going to enjoy it. He said this, not anyone else, right? Why the fuck would you give a game to someone that's not going to enjoy it? IGN gave Call of Duty to someone who absolutely hates playing Call of Duty. What did you think the review score was going to be when the person reviewing Call of Duty hates Call of Duty? I'm genuinely asking you, chat. What did you think the review score was going to be for a game when they genuinely hate Call of Duty? And even then, they've only reviewed the campaign. They didn't bother reviewing zombies or bother reviewing the multiplayer. They just reviewed the campaign and called it a day. They only reviewed like a quarter of the game and then said, fuck this, I'm out. If you told me to review Forza Horizon, I'd give a basic review, but I'm not a racer. It's not my forte. I don't really enjoy... I enjoy arcade racing games. So Sims aren't my thing. I don't really enjoy them. You know, give me Forza Horizon 5, Scud Race, Daytona USA, Ridge Racer. Those games are amazing. I love them. The whole unrealistic nature of them. God, even V-Rally I've got fond memories of. Taking me back years. Sega Rally, for God's sake. I love those arcade racing games. Those are my jam. Sim, not so much. So if you gave me a sim to review, I'm going to be a lot more scathing, right? I'm not really going to give it a fair chance. I'm not going to give it a fair shot because I'm not really going to be invested in all the mechanics. But when you got someone talking about, oh, but you can't dress your character in pink and run around in a war-torn place. Everyone has to be dressed up as a military person. And they're actually knocking points off for that. Or talking about how, you know, the surroundings in this area are kind of broken down buildings and there's no neon lights or anything like a Fortnite scenario in a war-torn situation, like they're going to be fucking celebrating getting blown up to pieces. You're giving a review for literally... You're giving the person to review that.
Now, Ham Solo, also bringing up Call of Duty. Ham and Post, like, I really like you guys, but I think you're just way off with this one. Modern Warfare 3 is stuck paying deference to a past that it seems to barely understand. Our review, 2 out of 5. Clickbait versus reality. Now, he links to the marketing material from Call of Duty, talking about thank you and how well the game did. Thank you. More hours per player overall. Modern War MWZ is the most engaging third mode in history. Campaign players putting in more time per player. Like, those are retention statistics. Okay. The game can still be bad. The game can be bad and still sell well, right?
Why would anyone play a bad game? You're talking about retention statistics. Why would anyone play a bad game? Why? Like, if I don't enjoy a game, I stop playing. There are so many games out there that you can go and play. Life is too short, right? Life is short. You're not going to sit down and hate your life and hate yourself to play through a game you don't enjoy. I refer back to Skillup when he was reviewing Golem, sorry. And he said this game was so bad that he couldn't punish himself to finish it. So the review is as it is. You do not play a game if you goddamn don't enjoy it. Josh, I'll cover that in a little bit.
You remember when Gran Turismo 7 launched and it was offline for like a week, but it was still topping sales charts? Like, games can launch with problems and still do well for the marketing team. Even Diablo, for example. And thankfully, now y'all know you're off your rocker when Gaz agrees with me. It's precisely because of this tax perception built on Xbox's sustained failures in a critical console generation and beyond that Xbox has no choice but to deliver above and beyond its competition. To sway the public and media, predisposition requires several key victories, not in an adversarial sense.
So what Gaz is saying there, in a nutshell, is Xbox has to provide and do better than everyone They can't be on the same level as, say, Ragnarok. They can't be on the same level as The Last of Us. They have to, supersede every other game. Like now that you've got Baldur's Gate, you have to do better than Baldur's Gate in order to gain recognition. That in itself is talking about the bias towards Xbox. He's clearly saying there that even if Xbox released a perfectly good functioning game, it wouldn't be good enough. They have to deliver well above 100% in order to get the recognition they want.
We can cry about it, not suggesting Joey is here, or just keep pressuring the company to deliver more, especially considering the resources available to it. I believe that pressure is definitely felt within Xbox now after ABK, but it's also clear that Xbox does need a steer and reminder from the community.
I agree with that, right? That part I agree. A lot of Xbox Twitter accounts online keep badgering on about Xbox and not Xbox, Game Pass, and the fact that the games are on Game Pass and they're available day one. It's okay. It's not. If a game performs badly, if a game releases incomplete, they should be, people should hold Microsoft accountable for it. After all, that's where the term good enough for Game Pass came from. I released a video on this, which upset a whole bunch of people from my community when I was talking about it, where I said games shouldn't release incomplete. They should be releasing complete. It shouldn't be just push it out there. Redfall, for example, should not have been pushed out there, but it was pushed out there to go with the status quo. Microsoft would have played the game. They would have seen the state it was in. But they needed something out there that they could work on later to fix because they had nothing coming out for Game Pass. So they pushed it out. The reality is that sort of stuff should be called out. And I did call it out. And I will call it out. That sort of practice needs to stop. If a game needs to be delayed, to be polished, delay the damn game. First impressions are everything. If you go to a game and the first impression is bad, you likely won't go back. Not everything is going to get the No Man's Sky, Final Fantasy XIV, and the Cyberpunk treatment. It's just not. That's the reality. Those are exceptions. Right?
I believe Xbox is in a really good place. You're going to see some proper attempts and efforts at gaining traction and delivering quality content.
I mean, old Rogaru, they gave Gran Turismo got reviewed really well, right? In my opinion, considering they hid the microtransaction store for 2 weeks from the reviewers. No one went back retrospectively and spoke about in their review how Sony charging £25 for a car was unacceptable. They put a post here and a post there and maybe one article and then called it a day. But that's stuff that influenced the review. That is stuff that would knock a few pegs off the review. But companies like Capcom and Sony have now been doing this for a while, where they don't put the microtransaction store at the start to get the good review, and then they monetize the fuck out of you after.
I am a lot less concerned about how Xbox's roadmap is. I'm a lot less concerned now about Xbox's roadmap than Sony's. Sony's, I should probably make a video about that, but Sony's having some major problems right now in terms of just like how many people have left, how many senior people have left the key franchises that are working on big like Naughty Dog lost their senior lead, Returnal lost their senior lead, tons of layoffs at Bungie. Anyway, continuing on, that is struggling to reconcile its games as a service pivot in a changing market, as well as a cash-rich behemoth like Microsoft that can introduce disruptive elements like Game Pass and a monstrous acquisition like ABK. Strictly in this sense, the industry is in a healthy place because of such determined players in the space. Hi, my name is Gaz, and this is my TED Talk. Gaz is right. We should be pressuring the $1 trillion company to do better.
No one is saying that we shouldn't be pressuring the $1 trillion company. But like Gaz said at the very beginning, they can't do the same level as PlayStation. They can't do the same level as Nintendo. They can't do the same level as PC because it wouldn't be good enough. It wouldn't be accepted as good enough. They have to go above and beyond what is expected from the other companies to even get the recognition they deserve. The fact that he missed that part completely is really disappointing. It's really, really disappointing.
What? Why wouldn't you? They have $1 trillion, y'all. They don't need you to jump up and defend them every time things get a little spicy, like when a Call of Duty releases and it's sort of whatever. A lot of people do not like the new Call of Duty. Influencers who are paid to play it say, yeah, that campaign was kind of mid. Maybe people disagree about the multiplayer. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't care about this Call of Duty release. But the fact that it's bad isn't insane to me, especially when Schreier like a year ago revealed that they were talking about canceling it. Like if they're internally having discussions about canceling it, maybe something's wrong. Now, I don't know if audio's turned on here, but there is a little clip I'm going to try and play here.
Before he plays that, again, he's not factually correct. Now, just because a game sells doesn't mean... I mean, actually, no. He turned around and said earlier that Gran Turismo 7 getting reviews in the 80s, high 80s, shows that a game can sell good and not get good review. And, just because it doesn't get like a staggering 9, the sales itself proves that the game is doing good. So doesn't that mean that Call of Duty is doing good because it is the most top sold game on PlayStation, Xbox, and almost PC? No? That doesn't apply to Call of Duty? I haven't played it, so I can't tell you whether the game is good or not. I can't tell you whether the game is good or not, but why are we having double standards now? Why are we saying that even though Gran Turismo got an 80, it's clearly a good game because of the amount of units it sold, and even with the weak backlash it was having, where it wasn't available online, which really no one really complained about, when you were offline for a whole week, no one really complained about, it's still a good game because it was selling through the bucket loads. But now Call of Duty is selling through the bucket loads, and people are still playing it, and the player numbers are good. That doesn't mean it's a good game. What? I don't get it. Like, I really think his take in this video is just wrong. He at this point, it reminds me of one of those Acme cartoons where you've got, like, I don't know, Donald Duck or someone trying to take a shot at the goal, and they keep moving the goalpost and putting the bar down and stuff so they can't actually get the goal going in. The goalposts are being moved way too much.
I'm not getting desktop audio. Let me set it up really quick. Let's see. What am I outputting to? No audio. Let me try and get this set up. Sorry. It's just...
And Major Nelson pretty much confirms what we're all saying.
I don't know what's going on, but basically, for some reason, I can't output audio. Oh, is it just because it's muted and I'm dumb? Yeah. All right, let's listen to this clip.
I think you're not getting the credit you deserve this generation.
We never will.
Yeah.
We never will.
Yeah.
We've seen this. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers.
Right.
The Nintendo guys are great. They, I've got my Switch right here in case I want to play Fortnite.
Yep.
So, I mean, those guys are great. I talked to Reggie the other day. The guys over at PlayStation, they're executing. They've had tremendous success this time around. But, it's funny, with us, I think it's maybe because, I don't know. So I think people like, oh, I hate Windows because I have to use it at work, or I'm doing email, or I don't want to do this PowerPoint for work. So I don't know if some of that anxiety and whatnot drifts over to Xbox, but we just want to do the best we can for gamers.
Okay, so that's from Kinda Funny, and that's from 2018. Joey says, and I just want to discuss for a second. Joey says, I know this whole Xbox tax is people not believing Xbox has a different set of rules applied to them. Well, I finally found the interview with Major Nelson back in 2018 admitting that they do and know Xbox has a different measuring stick today. It has a verb, tax. The fact that Xbox doesn't have a ton of AAA games at this time period isn't a tax, it's a reality. And we should be pressuring them to have more high-profile AAA releases. I think they had like Gear.
I can't believe it. I can't believe what he's saying. Major Nelson has literally, and that's a grade A pause, by the way. That is perfect. But Major Nelson is literally turning around and saying that when we get reviewed, when media looks at our games, we get a different standard of review. And this is from 2018. We get a different standard of review compared to other companies like Sony, like PlayStation. He's openly said this. And now he's spinning it because Xbox doesn't have major AAA first party titles coming out. I don't get it. Puerto Rock is a complete he's a toxic pony. Him, Unleashed, Hype. It's they're all the same. Druid, Red Dragon, Elevator Guy, aka X-Vault. Always call him Elevator Guy though, and if he says who told you that, you can quote me. It'll piss him the fuck off. He's wrong. I mean, he's basically turning around and saying, Major Nelson, you are chatting shit. You don't know what you're talking about. That's literally what he's saying, right? It's not about AAA, it's about different treatment. Exactly, Edward. It's about the double standards. It's about doing twice the work for half the revenue. Exactly. So what is he talking about?
Gears 5 around 2018 off the top of my head. And then the Series X launched in what? 2020? So they had about a year where it was a very light release cadence. And the reason I bring up the Phil Spencer email is because even Phil Spencer calls the 2022 release schedule a disaster.
Because it was. No one is... I don't think a single Xbox fan out there, when the Xbox Series X launched, can say that it launched with a great lineup. I don't even think it had any exclusives for like 2 years. Right? For 2 years, it was pretty barren. No one is saying or sitting here and saying, we deserve the game of the year when we didn't release anything. I genuinely don't understand where he's going with this. No one is sitting here saying, we didn't release anything, but we still deserve game of the year. Who in their right fucking mind is going to be saying this? Like, what are you, crazy? No one is saying that. And the fact that Phil Spencer came out and said 2021-22 was pretty shit, I think we can all agree. It was pretty shit. Right? When multiplayer Halo came out, everyone jumped in it and it was pretty bad. The options that they offered, the microtransactions, it was pretty bad. It's taken like a year to get to a point. Season 5, where it's actually good now. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. But it's taken a journey. But the game was in beta. If you load it up, it's still in beta. But Baldur's Gate being in beta, perfectly okay. Game of the year. Halo multiplayer being in beta, it's a pile of shit. It doesn't matter. We're going to review it like it's released anyway, even if it is in beta. What? Nah, he's way off on this video, man. He is way off on this video.
Because in 2021, it felt like they were hitting their stride. Brap points out, yeah, there's an Xbox tack. Forza Horizon 5 got a 10. It was celebrated industry-wide. I think it won Racing Game of the Year that year. So, like, and by the way, this dude hates me, by the way, but he's right.
Okay, so right. This is what I will say about this, right? Forza Horizon 5 was a good game. It's actually one of the games every so often I go back to. I actually prefer Forza Horizon 5 to Forza Motorsport. It's an arcade game, right? It's an arcade racer. Now, racing games, whether it's Gran Turismo or Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsport do not win Game of the Year. They will not win Game of the Year. They appeal to a niche, small subsection of the gaming community who like racing games. But they will never be at the forefront. So offering Microsoft a bone by saying, hey, look, we gave you a 10 here, be happy, for a game that will likely never get the recognition it deserves because it's a racing game. Now, had this have been Halo with the quality, the graphical fidelity that Forza Horizon actually offered, and then they gave Halo a 10, sure thing. But you notice how anything that's a meaningful game, one that's going to stay in the memories of those that want to play or actually cherish, will always score low. But for games that no one gives a shit about or has a very small niche market, Pentiment, right? They get like 9s and 10s. Do you see the correlation here? We will give the games that have no chance in hell of winning anything, getting any recognition, getting any form of respect, any form of public foresight, anything at all, we'll give those a good score. But for anything that's on Xbox that has the potential to actually shine, we're going to shit all over it to make sure it doesn't. Am I the only one that feels that way? I'm not saying Pentiment is a bad game. I actually really enjoyed it. I keep going back to it. One day I'll finish it. Hi-Fi Rush was a good game. That game got 6s and 5s and whatnot. Right? But it's never really going to be Game of the Year. I don't think it was good enough to be Game of the Year. It's good enough to get nominations. I don't think it would win. But the big games that could get nominations and win, they were shut upon. They were destroyed. They were murdered. And I'm going to go back to a game. I'm going to go back to a topic where they talked about the influencers, because I think this is really important to completely debunk his whole point. Now, when Forspoken released, it was a bit messy, right? The game wasn't in its best place. But everyone took clips out of context to post them online. I saw people on stream cowering in a fucking corner because of some of the lines being said. They were cowering and almost crying, right? Because it got clicks. Forspoken is a good game. You should play it. I really enjoyed it. Gave it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a really good game. Try it out. You'll be surprised at how good it is. But the media, the influencers, they were like, if I shit on this game right now because it's trending, I'm going to get so many viewers. I'm going to get so many clicks. The influencers are there to make money. They're not there to kiss your ass. They're not there to blow air up your fucking ass. They're there to make money. There's so few reviewers out there or influencers who have any integrity. When you do find the ones with integrity, you damn well stick to those, because at least you know what they're going to tell you is the damn truth. But the majority of these were doing it for the clicks and some of the clips that were taken out of context. If you played the previous 2 hours, what she said actually makes fucking sense. You've gone from being in this world, in New York or wherever it was, you're living an average life of poverty, your house just burned down, you've got nowhere to live, suddenly you've got these mystical powers. And it's, whatever you're thinking, it's happening. You tell me how you would react in that situation. I saw it as natural. Sure, the graphics may have been a little not as good as they promised. Fine. But that game was taken so far out of context to the point where the influencers actually killed the studio. But these people are parading that shit. That on its own debunks his whole point.
Forza got a 10. We gave...
No, you didn't. Actually, who reviewed Forza? Who reviewed Forza? Can anyone look up who reviewed Forza real quick, please?
Forza got a 10. We gave... like... It's insane to me to talk about that. It would be like saying that this is the PlayStation tax, I guess. Windows Central wrote it. It must be true. Destiny 2's player count falls to new all-time low, and I'm not surprised. That's from Brendan Lowry. Oh, he writes for Windows. Whoops. Well, he writes for Windows Central. I guess that's the PlayStation tax.
How is that the PlayStation tax? The game is shit. You openly said the game is shit. Seriously, what the fuck is he on? He openly said, I've stopped playing the game because it's shit. He's openly said, I've stopped playing Destiny 2 because the people that actually cared about the game, the people that made Destiny what it was, have moved from Destiny to Marathon. If they don't give a shit about the product, why should I? And I've noticed that once they left, the game got worse, it was shit, and it was bad. What the fuck is he on about? Is Luke Riley pro Xbox or is he pro Sony? Does anyone know? Destiny is a different ballgame. He released a whole video saying how, Destiny is in the worst place it's been because it's just such a bad game now. The magic is gone. The Destiny feel is gone. What makes Destiny isn't Destiny anymore. It's all about cash grab, money grab, trying to squeeze money out of everyone, microtransaction bullshit. Even the seasonal events are just rehashed remakes, reskins of the previous seasons. He said this himself. And he's trying to pin that on some... Oh, get the fuck out of here,
insane, man. You guys. Asking Xbox to come up with a regular release cadence, which they have been working on. And Redfall, by the way, this past year was supposed to be part of that release cadence. Failed.
It did
and
fail.
Phil Spencer admits it failed. And they're reevaluating their internal policies to correct that issue. We should be hard on Xbox when they make mistakes.
I mean, Phil was hard on himself, right? When Redfall failed. But let's be realistic. Who signs off the games when they get released? Phil. Are you telling me the fact that everyone saw Phil playing Redfall on Xbox with his gamer tag, that he didn't see the problems that were there? So he reviews a lot of racing games. So they actually gave someone who likes racing games an opportunity to review something that he enjoys, and he gave it a great score. Well done. So they're actually showing someone who they actually picked correctly for the role. Good job. Good job. Now go show me someone who you picked that was not for the right role. And then show me that review. Show me someone who despises the game and does not want that game to succeed. Review that game like you normally do. And then show me that score. Oh, you're not going to show that one, do you? Because it doesn't suit the agenda.
Look, Starfield wasn't for everybody. That doesn't make it a bad game.
I agree. Starfield was not for everybody. No game will ever be for everybody. But the amount of bashing and hatred that game got was unprecedented. I don't think there is a single game out there, even E.T., which is the worst game of all time, didn't get as much hatred as Starfield did. Hell, Redfall didn't get as much hatred as goddamn Starfield did.
That doesn't mean there's an Xbox tax. It just means it was a contentious release, largely due to some of the mission structure based on what I've read, a feeling of grindiness and repetitiveness, and sort of like the illusion is broken because the way that they built the interplanetary systems didn't work for everybody. But for some people, it was great. Now, Chris Dring also talked about how this is real. Like, console sales were up 33% across tracked European markets year on year. This was entirely due to PlayStation 5, with sales up 116% Over June last year, Switch sales were down 2.3 year on year, while Xbox Series X and X sales were down 0.8, so basically flat. Fast forward a few months later, Xbox sees a big sales slump. Let me find it. Number Switch is number 2, despite a 20% drop in sales compared with last October, while Xbox Series X and S sales continue to struggle in Europe, down 52% year on year.
Exactly. And this is the point I was making early on when I was recording that video. This is the point I'm talking about. Because those other two platforms have console-specific games that will sell the console. Nintendo has the Mario. They have the other thing. Xbox doesn't have anything that is exclusive. Even if it is a timed exclusive, they have nothing because it's available on other platforms for you to play. You don't have to buy an Xbox. Maybe that's the path that Xbox wants to go down. Fair enough. They should come out and say, we don't care about the Xbox actual platform. What we care about is Game Pass because that's our platform. And that, in fact, has been their platform for quite some time. But they just should come out and say, we don't care about the Xbox anymore. As a console, we care about the ecosystem. And if that means publishers are going to skip Xbox, so be it. We don't care. What we care about is releasing our day one games on the Xbox console and on PC and on the cloud. And that's good enough for us. And if it's good enough for you as a consumer, happy days. If it's not, look elsewhere. But I don't feel that that's what they want. I don't believe that's what they want. And the only way that they can improve this is by getting timed exclusive games onto the Xbox in order to start shifting consoles. Otherwise, that 52% is going to become 82%.
These are struggles that Xbox has to figure out. But I will say that Microsoft's strategy is not about the console. When I see people touting Xbox's console difficulties as some sort of weird victory for whatever reason, it's not true because their strategy isn't about the console. Even Sony, who is selling their console like crazy, is firing tons of people because that's not the future. However, Chris String also pointed out Xbox hasn't had the best year so far in terms of raw hardware sales across Europe, but the most effective way for it to reach European players is via mobile and PC. And in that regard, it's making real headway.
So, okay, listen. To all of you in the chat that own an Xbox console, that don't own a PC, but play your games on Xbox, right? I'm going to ask you a serious question. In fact, I'm also going to put this as a poll. Let's see if we can do a poll. Can we do a poll here? I don't think we can do a poll. It's not letting me. It's not letting me do a poll. Why isn't it letting me do a poll? Let's see. Okay, maybe I can do it here. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want. So the question is, as an Xbox gamer, do you care about the Xbox games doing well on PC and mobile, but terrible on Xbox? That's the question.
Xbox has a different playbook at play, and Chris Dring, who I imagine got a lot of flack for talking about how...
By the way, this question is only aimed at those that play on Xbox. Not to those PC gamers, because obviously you don't care. You're getting the best version available. You're getting the best time of your life on PC. But to Xbox gamers who are getting the short end of the stick, who have paid $500 for their console, do you care about getting a shitter version of the game, worse off version of the game, inferior version of the game, as opposed to other platforms when it's an Xbox product?
Console sales were down year over year because everybody likes to pile on Chris whenever he's critical about Xbox, also realizes that, hey, that's not really their strategy now, is it? And I think we all know that, right? I just want people to think about this whole Xbox tax thing, and it's not real. There are things that happen online. Nobody's like going out of their way to dunk on Xbox. That's insane. There's no grand conspiracy against Xbox.
So apparently Metro isn't going out their way. PC Gamer isn't going out their way to shit on Xbox. Okay.
Xbox needs to win over players. PlayStation has spent, since the PlayStation 4 through the PlayStation 5, all of that time with better marketing. They did some cutthroat stuff behind the scenes to get more players, like having those Call of Duty exclusives. And you know what Microsoft did in response? They bought Bethesda and they bought Activision. We are at the time when Xbox has an opportunity to sway the consumer base back to their platform. And when internal emails are alluding to the fact that Xbox will no longer exist if they don't make that pendulum swing back in their direction, I don't think that's a media bias or anything like that making Microsoft make that decision. Microsoft recognizes that they have work to do and they're putting in the work. That is great. And I think being critical about their missteps, like that Call of Duty, it ain't it. And if you're using that Call of Duty entry to use as some sort of defense, or even Starfield, like, you have to be able to look at these games and say, okay, I love Starfield. What are some reasons some people might not like it as much as I do? And just recognize that you have a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean there's a grand conspiracy against the Xbox platform. I love y'all. I gotta call it like I see it, though, with this whole Xbox tax thing. And I think Xbox fans should be asking Xbox to continue to elevate their platform, come up with new strategies to win new customers. And honestly, I think next year and the year after and the year after that, we're going to see some pretty substantial changes just based on the leaks that we've seen from Microsoft, right? That's my take on the whole situation. Hey, if you like me talking about this stuff, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I want to be clear, though. I'm not saying anybody is bad or anything for talking about Xbox tax. I just think you need to rein it in a bit. The people that I'm listing here, like Post Up and Ham, they've been really great. I just don't agree with this Xbox tax sentiment. And I don't think I ever really have. There have been a lot of things that have happened in the media where they're negative towards Xbox, but that's just their opinion. I don't think it's like an industry bias or something. Otherwise, why does Windows Central exist? And even Windows Central is critical of Xbox often, right? Like the biggest Xbox fans, myself included, are often critical of the brands that they love because they want them to do better. That's what I want from PlayStation. That's what I want from Xbox, because at the end of the day, all I want is what's best for consumers. And honestly, if this Call of Duty reaction means a banger of a Call of Duty next year, I think that's a good thing. And I hope that's what happens. Time will tell. Thanks for watching. If you want to become a member, hit that join button.
But even that next game that comes along is going to do very badly. We all know this. We all know this because it's going to be exclusive to PlayStation. I mean, not PlayStation. It's going to be an Xbox game. It is. It's a whole bunch of cope. It's a whole bunch of cope. Let's end up on what happened. As an Xbox gamer, do you care? So you don't care if the games are... The 58% said that they don't care if Xbox gets a inferior game to PC. Whereas 41% said they do care if they get basically a worse off game as far as the Xbox platform is concerned. That's fair. I think you're crazy, but it's fair. The poll speaks for itself. As a console owner, I would want to get the best possible version of my console that I paid 500 quid for. I think he's wrong. I think he's totally wrong. I think, but this whole Xbox tax drama that came out because essentially, right? People just
I have to.
People, look at the dislike ratio now, boys. Yeah, that dislike ratio. Let's have a look at the comments. At some point, the media across all sectors needs to ask themselves why they're not trusted anymore and what they can do to fix it instead of telling us why we're wrong. To know exactly. A few years ago, IGN put on an article comparing Sony's and Microsoft's gaming subscription services. In the article, IGN conveniently left off the most important aspect of Xbox Game Pass, day and date, which made Sony's subscription look superior. Was that a mistake, Destin? Here an answer to that. I would say, just ask yourself this question. If Microsoft had released the Portal, could you imagine the reaction? IGN gave the Steam Deck a 7, the Nintendo Switch a 7, and the Sony Portal a 8. Tell me more about how IGN isn't biased towards Sony. This is a bad take. It's definitely real, and IGN does a great job at proving it's real. The gaming media is still pretty upset about the ABK deal. You would think most of the gaming media would be covering at least 10% of the negative news from Sony the past few months. Instead, I see countless articles about Xbox sales, Starfield, COD, Metacritic scores. Also, the PS Portal would have probably received a 2 from IGN if it was an Xbox device. Stop denying the obvious bias, it's ridiculous. Thank you, prominent IGN personality, for telling us that games coverage isn't fueled entirely by myopia, bias, agenda, access, engagement, career path, etc. The entire concept of holding up the opinions of a relative handful of people over the entire populace is a problem. Starfield didn't spend enough on marketing. Starfield being exclusive is a slap in Bethesda fans' face. These types of narratives have to do with taxing and finding a reason to knock Xbox outside of the games being good or bad. The fact COD was put on a pedestal over ever PlayStation IP combined in the APK scrutiny and then turned around and have it so high profile tore down, and this is not the worst COD says a lot, and it's not the worst Call of Duty. Vanguard had a far worse campaign. Ghost had a far worse campaign from what I'm hearing, but those were rated way higher. But because this was Microsoft's first Call of Duty, it got shat on all over. I'm not an Xbox bot, however, I must admit there seems to be something suspicious about the way Xbox games are being reviewed. I think the Xbox tax is real. Great video. I mean, how can it be a great video if you disagree with him? Come on, Destin, get real. I know you're plugged into the industry in certain ways and have to preserve that access, but the Xbox fandom sees you as a reliable source of info. Denying a legitimate and quantifiable occurrence like the Xbox tax just isn't reasonable. And, you know, let's be realistic here. His justification for the Xbox tax not existing, his overall justification is gas. That's his source. That the Xbox tax. Just let that sink in for a second. This is Destin, who works for one of the biggest news publishers out there, and his source is gas. I'm not shitting on Gaz here, by the way. I think he there was a lot of good points he made in his post, but his source is Gaz. No actual publication called out here. He didn't show any of the posts from PC Gamer, Metro, Eurogamer, IGN. He chose Gaz. Do I need to say more here? Do I need to say more? I respect you, Destin, and love your channel, but if Xbox indeed released the PS Portal, it would not have received good grades. Also, when Sony is negative in the news, like with the lawsuit going on, it does not get covered in the news as much. I feel IGN especially is biased against Xbox. This is the first videos of yours I had to dislike, Destin. I'm surprised with how well you cover the industry. Xbox bias is real, no matter how much journalists try to hide it. I mean, it's just a complete same. Everyone is basically saying what I'm saying, right? Let's be honest. If Sony made Hi-Fi Rush, people would be going nuts over it. Insanely underrated game this year. Dude, the reviewer knocked down the score of Hi-Fi Rush because it was an Xbox game. He literally said it deserved it because Xbox has quality issue. That was Metro, by the way. They basically turned around and said that they can't give this game a higher score because the past Xbox games haven't been of a high standard. So because the past Xbox games haven't been of a past standard, the fact that he's reviewing a completely individual game means that that game can't get a higher score because of past games that have nothing to do with Hi-Fi Rush were not up to standard. I mean, you can see here, he's getting slaughtered. Ironic coming from someone who works at IGN. Sorry, Destin, you're wrong. There are clearly reviewers like the Plank at IGN who do not review games subjectively and whose personal tastes in games are clearly for the style of games PlayStation makes. He choked on a John Thomas before he gave an Xbox Studios games a fair rating. There have been games that clearly would have reviewed higher without the PlayStation logo. Thank you for being so honest. Yeah, right. I noticed that IGN posted almost every day when Xbox going through the FTC and CMA hearing. But now that Sony is being sued for billions by its consumers, why don't you post anything about it? And because it doesn't make news. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm genuinely surprised at what he's saying here, and I can't believe that he's actually said it with a straight face. This is the first hard no I've ever had on one of your videos. If you seriously don't see that outlets and people, specifically IGN, don't have an anti-Xbox bias, you're part of the problem. If it's not Xbox text, then it's certain IGN reviews anti-Xbox. See, no matter how you look at it, there's a negative view there. There's a negative perception. Even if you don't want to call it the Xbox tax, there is still a negative perception there that is there. Maybe. I think D-Batch has got off the plot. I think he's trying to get in with the PlayStation crowd at this point, honestly. That's the only thing I can think of. He actually wants to get in with that crew. Chat, is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we call it a day? It is 2 a.m. I've had a blast. But this old man needs to get his rest as well. But yeah, it's been great. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Again, I know this is a stream, but it still goes a long way to helping the channel hit that 6,000 milestone that I've got in place right now. We do want to hit 7,500 by Christmas. So hopefully we can get there. Maybe, possibly. Who knows? You think I need to get some sleep? Maybe. But if there's any other last thoughts, let me know in the chat right now before I sign off. But I do hope you all enjoyed the stream. Again, I am really sorry for starting so late. Like I said at the start, for those of you that weren't here, my uncle passed away on Thursday morning. So we've had a lot of stuff to organize, sort out, over the past few days. My mum's not taking the news very lightly, so I was actually over at hers to console her a little bit and just try and be there, which is why, you know, I started so late tonight, because I was there most of the time. So it is what it is. Next week we'll be back to a normal time, hopefully, because there shouldn't hopefully be any more drama happening in that regard. But, you know, hopefully no one else will drop down and die. But it is what it is. It is life. I appreciate that. Thank you, Devante. But that was why I actually started quite a bit late today. So next week we should be back to the normal schedule with the normal time. Right, everyone, that is going to be it. There's no more questions, no one wants to chip in. Wasn't there someone that asked me something? Josh, is Josh still there? I recall Josh asked me something to do with Sony and maybe the CMA. Is he still there? I can't remember what he asked. Maybe he's gone. I'm guessing he's gone. Okay. Right then. That's it. Have a good night, everyone. Peace. Thanks, Stage. I appreciate it. Remain legend, guys. Have a good night. And happy Thanksgiving for those of you that celebrate it. And for those of you that are stuffed, I'm jealous. But don't worry. I appreciate you had good food. Peace out, guys.